Can and can't do. But if you think I'm going to write a column about one good performance from your defense, and shit, you still give up 80. They don't miss you at Auburn, dude. I'm telling you. No, it's like a big bunker joke. Like a defensive coordinator. Just golf game. Who gives a shit about your golf game? You're a basketball coach. I'm not writing. I got to go. Hey, guys. What's going on? It's your guy, JG. I'm publisher at auburnsports.com. You may know me as the Commodore. Or you may also know me as the guy from the Brain Drain. I don't know what you know me as. Doesn't really remember. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, it's awesome to have you guys here on this beautiful Saturday. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's gloomy and chilly and rainy here in Montgomery, Alabama, but that's all right because we've always got basketball to talk about, and that means it's a sunny day, no doubt. We've already got some of our superstar badass people, folks, brain drainers in the chat. Got some super chats already coming through from Ryan S., whom I met Wednesday night, I believe it was. Part of the Huntsville crew, the North Alabama crew. We hung out there. Hell, there were probably about 10 of us. What do you think, Ryan? Including such luminaries as D. Lucky. Let's see who else we got. Easy Money was there. Easterwood. R.M. Schuler, obviously. We've talked about him. Dob the Bomb was there. I'm going to leave somebody out. Huntsville Tiger 34 was there. Had a great time up there for sure. And I want to thank D. Lucky for playing the central role of getting that all worked out, knowing where to go, where to eat, what to do. It was a beautiful night in Huntsville. That was when it was still warm. It was like 70. It was outside, so I didn't feel like we were too close together or whatever. So that was nice. Also, super chat coming through from Pocket Watch, who's a stud, of course, obviously, part of every show that we do. Also, Corey Dubb. To whom I owe a dinner, or at least hanging out at one of our mutually favorite places to eat here in Montgomery. What up, Corey? And James Taylor Studios is already starting in saying it's excuse season or something like that. Let's see. AU Texman says it's Tony B, a.k.a. UK's defensive coordinator. Still blaming Rich McGlynn for his recruiting woes. BP's kind of debunked that myth, eh? War Eagle 0008 says War Damn Eagle. All tough game for the Tigers. Played hard despite a really bad night for Cooper. I don't know if it was a bad night for Cooper. I think he was 6 of 18 from the floor, which is not a good number, but he's usually like 6 of 16 or 6-ish, something like that. The difference was free throws. Not very many taken today, as in this many right here. None. See, Leif B says, I don't see our friend Leif B, of course, one of our friends who is from the Rebel Grove site. However, he's married to a Razorback, so that's his life. I don't see UK going on much of a run. They are too inconsistent. I also failed to mention that Leif lives in the state of Kentucky, so he has to deal with all this BS. Spread Attack U18 joking about the Huntsville COVID party. Again, we were outside in the open air, and people were paying attention to their masks, and we stayed apart. I felt pretty good about how that was handled, honestly. Yeah, so let's go ahead and go to our main pane here, main pane, yes. And I've got the record correct now after having screwed it up before, so that's my bad. And all those numbers are correct, as best I can tell. The reason that the Baylor game is grayed out is because it's not a conference game. Everything else is, so it just gives you an idea of what's going on in the conference slate. And, of course, the box score from today's game there on the right. Some interesting things going on in this game. I thought Auburn played well in the first half. Go into halftime with a 6-point lead. Probably should have had a bigger lead. I thought that they were the better team by a margin bigger than 6 points in the first half. Second half, obviously Calipari said, we're coming out physical and we're going to come out with a lot of intensity. And it just, I thought, overwhelmed Auburn for the first, 3 segments of the second half. It might have gone to the 10-minute mark. Let me see if I wrote it down in the notes here. Got 67-58-ish. I think they got up to like 14. So it went from Auburn by 6 to UK by 14. That's a 20-point swing in, like 8 or 10 minutes. And it's just, yuck. You got to be able to repel that, right? It's okay to have one segment where you just get beat, but then you got to toughen up. And it took Auburn a little while. Like I said, I think it was 3 segments. It may have been 4 just to kind of get back up to speed and fight back enough. But they did. Even though they got down 14, the last 8 minutes for sure, they were just kind of getting a little bit here and a little bit there. JT Thor was massive in those last 8 minutes. I think he finished with, was it 19? No, he finished with 24 on 8 of 11 shooting. The guy was a badass. And I take responsibility for that, take credit for it, because I was asking BP on the teleconference yesterday about what's been going on with Thor. You know, he had, I think it was 4 consecutive games where he had double-digit points, and then he had 3 in a row coming into this game where it was like 8 points, 4 points, 2 points. He'd been just kind of like, you know, we talked about this a month ago. Sometimes it seems like JT doesn't know how he fits into the offense. It's not an intellectual thing. It's just like, what's my role? You know, with Sharif taking so many shots, with Flanagan taking so many shots, you know, where am I best used? How often am I used? And sometimes I think he kind of floats in and out about where he fits in. And tonight, not a problem at all. He fit in as a guy that was spotting up for threes. It really kind of messed with UK's defensive philosophy that a guy that plays 4 like that, or 5, depending on how you look at it, 6'10", would be the guy that's kind of rolling out and taking threes. But he did a hell of a job tonight. And I would argue, well, I don't even think you'd have to argue it. It's his best performance as an Auburn Tiger, no doubt. Super chat coming through from Stoop Up, keeping the streak alive. This man has super chatted every show we've ever had, and he's an unbelievable supporter of what we do here at Auburn Sports and this show. Says AU has more flaws than my terrible golf swing. Hey da. I got to give you a laugh on that one, bro. I love it when you come with the jokes like that. Oh my gosh, I have it turned down. What a rookie. Thanks, Stu Pup. I appreciate you, brother. Whew, man. So you could see it kind of coming back slowly, right, as the second half wore on. It was UK's up by 14. And Thor hits a 3-ball to cut it to 67-58. You get it down to 72-66 when Devin Cambridge has that great steal in the really in the backcourt on the press. Steals the ball, spins, puts it in, get it to 6. Eventually got it down to 4, got it down even. And then UK's grad transfer from Creighton, I forget his name. I can figure it out if I look on here. It is Mintz. Mintz pulls up for kind of a cock and fire 3. Auburn left him wide open. He hit it, put him up 3 late, and it just had the hit. Because Auburn had fought all the way back and gotten it even, and then he hit that 3 with about, 20 or 30 seconds left, and it was like, fuck. Collins M in the house, my main man. I think he's our number 1 member from Virginia, all of Virginia. We have some great ones in Virginia, but he's number 1, of course. And we could even say is he our number 1 guy from east of the Alleghenies? Could be. Spread Attack U18 says that zone 3 was the dagger. Yes, that was a burner, man. It was a burner. Solo Tiger says so many wasted possessions and weak, lazy passes in the first half. Should have built a much larger league while they were cold shooting the ball. Absolutely, I agree. Auburn should have gone in halftime at least 10. But, and your point is a good one. That's something you've got to do, and that's the kind of stuff they're going to have to do next year if they're going to be the team that we all believe they can be. But credit Kentucky for coming out and seizing control of things in the early second half, and it just took Auburn too long to kind of figure out what to do. And I think they had to, Paul Ellen was talking about it on the Auburn broadcast, they had to kind of play through contact. I'm not sure that that's an Auburn strength this year. I thought Flanagan is willing to do that, and I think he did that today. JT typically is not willing to do that, but I thought he did that today. He was buoyed. His game was buoyed by some three-point shooting, which is certainly credit to him, but doesn't really it's not part of the toughness thing. It's not about playing through contact when you're taking rollout threes, but he was tremendous today, and I've been saying for basically the whole season that I think he's the most talented player on this roster right now, and that includes Sharif Cooper, who I think is a tremendous player. But at this stage of his career, Sharif is it's almost like, I don't know. I don't want to rag on him. He's a terrific player. But today, I gave him so much credit. The game midweek against Vanderbilt, he had 0 turnovers in like 30 minutes. I think he was 7 assists, 0 turnovers. Unbelievable performance by him. Comes into this game, I think he finished with 6. Jay's eyesight isn't quite what it used to be. 8 assists and 6 turnovers for Sharif. And I think there were a couple more, particularly in the first half, that he got bailed out by the shot clock on one ball that should have been a turnover. And then there was another pass into Flanagan that they ended up giving Flanagan the credit for the turnover, but it was kind of a shitty inlet pass. So anyway, his passing was not sharp today. Obviously, his shooting was not sharp. To go 6 of 23 is yikes. Does the kid have incredible upside? Yes, incredible upside. And is Auburn way worse off without him on the floor? Absolutely. We were actually talking about that on the bunker a little bit, where why can't, people are asking this question, when Sharif takes his breaks, and usually BP's trying to get him one, maybe 1.5 shifts off each half, just to give him a break, right? They play Al Flanagan at point. Why can't Auburn just run, let's say there's 3 plays, just 3 design plays that Allen can run, and they know when they know when Allen takes over at point, it's going to be one of those 3 plays, right? The problem is that these teams in the SEC are going to scout that shit real fast. So if you do that within a game or 2, they're going to know exactly what's coming, and they're going to ball up. So you'd have to change the plays. You'd actually have to have like 8 or 9. Well, now you're asking him to do like everything Sharif does. And you guys don't want to hear about this, but I've seen this happen before. I covered Kentucky in 97, 98. That's a team that won the national title over Utah in the final, coached by Rick Majerus, one of my all-time favorites. But that team had a really good point guard in Wayne Turner. And when Wayne would sit down, when they would give him a break, Burner Turner, it would usually be Saul playing point guard, Saul Smith, who was Tubby Smith's younger son. And offense would just kind of bog down, but they couldn't play Wayne 40 minutes, just like you can't play Sharif 40 minutes. Although Tez Robertson played 40 minutes back in the day, but that's a whole different story. I don't know if Tez wanted to do that, but the same kind of thing happened with that UK team when they would have to kind of fight through it when Saul Smith was playing point or whatever, and it's just people were bitching about it back then. Now, Kentucky won the national title with that team. So I don't necessarily think that's Auburn's biggest problem, but you're right. Every week it's just the same story, right? The offense works in general when Sharif's out there, and it doesn't work in general when it's Al. And Al's not a point guard. Everybody knows that. Ben Honest says Flanagan is the worst point guard in the SEC when he's in there. Remember, though, I don't even know if it's fair to say that. He's a wing. He's a 3. Cassidy Peace says 97, 98 Cats played a one-on-one against Burner Turner. I don't know if he played on the Eastern Seaboard. He was from Boston. Played against Wayne Turner at camp. Great dude. I always thought Wayne was nice. He was a friendly cat on a team full of dudes that weren't that friendly, honestly. But I always thought he was a pretty fair guy. Like him and Nazi Muhammad, good dudes. Shepard was nice too. Cameron Mills, not so sure. Oh, Scott Padgett, great guy. Former Samford head coach. Covered his wife Cynthia because she was a volleyball player. I had a real passion for covering volleyball back then, and his wife Cynthia was an outside hitter, despite only being like 5'9" or 5'8". She just had incredible hops. I don't know why I'm going down this road. It's probably not the greatest week to start telling stories about my time at Kentucky. You know what I'm talking about? Super chat coming through from War Eagle 0008. Says, can't wait to see this team plus Powell and Jabari. I think today illustrated the case for Reef to come back to be a lottery pick. Bourbon today, yes. First of all, good point on Sharif. Someone on the bunker made a great point the other day. They said, hey, man, these NBA teams, they're not necessarily drafting kids based on what they can give them right now. Some of them are, some of them aren't. A lot of teams are drafting because they feel like they can develop this kid pretty quick. I mean, Orlando didn't take Chum because they felt like he was an all-star forward right at that moment. Certainly not because he had a torn ACL. But they loved everything else about him. They loved his versatility, that he could play, I don't know in the NBA he could play 5, but 4, 3 for sure. And to give you that range from a 4, they loved what he had. They loved his upside, so they took him in the first round as a result. There are teams that are going to look at Sharif Cooper and say, okay, yeah, he's shooting, 38% from 2, 28% from 3. He's certainly not a finished product, but we love his quickness. We love his fight, his valor, however you want to say. He's extremely quick off the dribble. It's weird because that quickness does not translate very well to his defense at this point. But, again, these teams, NBA teams, have great coaches. They have great athlete performance people, and they think they're going to be able to get the most out of him. I still think it's kind of a toss-up, even though we can see there's obvious holes in his game right now. Okay. Yes, brown water. Thank you for asking, War Eagle 0008. Today I'm going to be drinking this Elijah Craig 18, and this is a particularly special bottle for me. I want to give a shout-out to my friend Brian D. for making this one a reality for me. So this is the Elijah Craig 18 year, and what's really cool about it is that the bottle date on this, I don't know if you guys can see that, is 4/24/20. which is my daughter's 18th birthday. She was born on 4/24/02. And I can remember 4/24/20 because she had a, COVID had hit, and she had a parade of her friends out here in front of the house. So it's an 18-year-old bottle from 4/24/20. Pretty cool, I think. Anyway, this is barrel 4978. As you see, I've had a little bit of this because when I got a hold of it, I just couldn't say no. I mean, you guys know. You guys know how that goes. I'll tell you this right now because I've already had some of this. I wasn't just floored by it. I generally like Elijah Craig a lot, and I would never have a bad thing to say about it. But this one didn't really push the boundary for me. I mean, I think it's good. To me, it just kind of has a flat. It's just kind of a flat taste the whole way. There's not punch on the front end. You guys know I love punch on the front end. A little bit of punch, you know. It ends very smoothly, but I just don't feel like there's enough. And I also wonder sometimes if that's just too long in the damn barrel. Just my opinion. Everybody's got their own biases. AU Taxman, I know, is an expert on these things. I also have some Knob Creek. This is a 9-year. They're single barrel. I'm going to be drinking this too today. This is their 9-year, which I know a lot of y'all have this, but my friend cousin, Chris, he picked this up for me. This is a Christie's barrel pick from Knoxville, Tennessee. So this is a single barrel select, I suppose, from Christie's in Knoxville. If you guys are ever up that way at Christie's in Knoxville, it's a tremendous spot to stop and peruse because they almost always have some cool, unusual shit. You know how you go in an ABC in our state? It's just so-so. The selection is. Although this week, guys, they're doing their allocations in our state. Instead of doing it once a year in November, they're doing it every month now. This is allocation week coming up. So if you guys are bourbon heads, you probably already know this. But anyway, this could be a big week for some of us. You know, a lot of stuff's going to be in the store in my area, Thursday. I know in Auburn, I think it's going to be Wednesday. I think down in the south part of the state, it's Tuesday, like in Mobile. You have to check that stuff out. Okay, I've missed some stuff. Cassidy pieces, Wayne, and then Nazi each whipped me. Well, Nazi's like a big old dude, and Wayne's a point guard or whatever. Corey W's not having it. People who are trashing Flanagan, our number 2 point guard, is hurt and out. Flanagan is playing out of position. That's true. Sam H. in a non sequitur here says Heaven Hill is an amazing place. I would agree. I've been by there. I have not done the tour there. But it obviously is in Nelson County there, Bardstown. Let me see. I think it was it Canoe that was asking me about Christie's? Okay, Christie's is going to be, wow. Okay, so it's on the east part of town, which is not normally an area of town where things are going on. Usually all the fun is on the southwest part of town. But it's out there on the east end, just inside the Beltline and about 5 miles short of the Strawberry Plains stop on I-40 if you're ever going that way toward Gatlinburg. I love when I see Strawberry Plains, I always say, Strawberry Plains forever. Hey now. All right, let's see what else we got here going on. A War Eagle 0008 says it's a deep draft this year. I actually haven't looked that deep into it, honestly, bro. But you would know. I mean, I'm not discounting what you're saying. The money seems better next year. He'll get the best advice, but seems tough to get into the top 10 with the depth of the draft. Problem is you're always running that risk, of getting hurt. And we have learned this year that there's some really weird stuff that happens with injuries, right? To see JP go down with kind of like going forehead, or I don't know if it's hand, elbow, forehead. He kind of backed into a stretch at Texas A&M and got hit right on the back of his head. And, man, he just hasn't been right. BP offered some insight into JP the other day saying that he had met with him. And JP hadn't been to practice at all since then. I take it back. He went one time, and it just wasn't going to work. He just is having trouble, man. And I wonder if Sharif looks at that and says, weird stuff happens. I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste this opportunity, even if he's not top 10, maybe if he's top 20, if he's first round. I don't know. John Cease says if Powell's not back, he's having post-concussion issues. This is true, absolutely. Might be a thing his whole career if he's this susceptible. I don't want to go too deep into this because it's just not fair. But he's got something a little more serious going on than it. I mean, he has a bad concussion, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised if we find out later he had a skull fracture. Let's see. Spread Texas stretch hasn't been right since the JP concussion. I haven't really noticed that correlation. You might be right. I just haven't paid. Oh, yeah. Canoe Man, thanks for reminding me, bro.
We're not even talking about the game, the actual game, when it matters. We're talking about practice.
Ben Honest says, is it fair to say these pieces don't fit as well together as Bruce's first couple classes, even with the higher-ranked players? That's an interesting question. I've got to actually look at that. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at his first few classes. I got to remember who's in it. I'm sorry. This stuff just gets away from me a little bit. All right, so in 15, well, I see you're saying classes. Okay, so we'll go to 16. Yeah, you got Horace as a freshman that year. Bryce as a freshman. Yeah. TJ as a sophomore. New as a freshman, but didn't play that much. That's probably not what you're talking about. Okay, so 17. Mustafa. But yeah, let's look at this team from 17. Mustafa, Ronnie Johnson, if you guys remember him, he was the transfer point guard from Houston. He's a solid player, kind of like Javon. If Javon had always been a backup, that would have been like Ronnie that year. Austin Dubb, Jared Harper as a freshman, yeah, he's okay. TJ as a senior, yeah. D'Angelo's a freshman. Bryce still struggling as a sophomore. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, yes, the 19 team had a synergy about it that was special. But you also had Jared, who had played a shitload. Bryce had played a shitload. Samir, even though it was his first year playing for Auburn, he had been there so long as a second full year at Auburn. He knew the guys really well. You know, Austin was doing what he was doing, giving you about, 8 minutes a game before he fouled out. Chum was off the chain. Anthony was off the chain and hustling, not with numbers. Javon, I mean, that's a Final Four team. So, no, I don't think they have the same synergy as the Final Four team, if you're asking me that. But I honestly think that the biggest problem for this team right now is it's like emotional engagement, like the consistency of the emotional engagement. Ross C. jumps in. Oh, my God, look at this. What a badass. Thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, what up, JG? Reef is a win-win. He goes. Tip of my nose is itching. I don't know. I think someone's talking about me. Let's see. This is a win-win from Auburn's perspective is the way he's looking at this. If he goes pro in the first round, it's a third straight year, first-round draft picks in the NBA, meaning Chum, Isaac last year, and then Sharif, which will be great for BP's recruiting. Believe me. Has that ever happened at Auburn? Hell no, it hasn't happened at Auburn. I guess it could have happened in the mid-'80s. I'm not sure about that. That's a great question. It hadn't happened. I've been at Auburn since 97. Hadn't happened since then. Can't hurt recruiting. He stays, and obviously we are an uber-talented squad next season. Thanks, Ross. You're the man. I completely agree. I mean, I think BP would love to have him back, but BP also knows. God. I'm sorry, Ruxy. I knew that. I don't know why. I don't know why I couldn't just figure it out from the last name. I'm a dipshit. I'm sorry, bro. I'm a little slow on that. Ruxy, thank you. Yeah, I think BP's kind of torn, man, because he knows the value of putting kids in the NBA. I mean, he's said all along, that's my goal. Spread Attack U18 says nose itching means codeine. It's weird. I think somebody's talking about me. If he puts kids in the NBA, that's what he's got to do to recruit. Because when a kid like Jabari comes, if there's no Isaac and there's no Chum, there's no Jabari. I promise you that. And if you're looking ahead, I don't know, but Trey Alexander's a little bit different. I still think they could have gotten him, but definitely not Jabari. And if you look ahead to like Scoot, probably the same thing because Scoot is on the ascension as a recruit. I think by the time this is all over, all said and done, he's going to be a top 25 guy. That matters. And when you're able to put a kid in the NBA every single year, it unlocks your ability to kind of get in that super elite group and actually beat Duke and actually beat North Carolina and Kansas and Kentucky for the really good kids, right? Like Jabari. So, yeah, you're right, Ruxy Poo. There's a plus and a minus to the whole thing. D. Lucky is in the house. Says, what up, peeps? Appears I missed a tough one. You did. It was a tough one for sure. Although you were mentioned earlier, D. Lucky, I thanked you very much for helping coordinate that situation in Huntsville on Wednesday night. We had a great time meeting some class bunkerites, cool peoples. And I thought it was a great place to be hanging out. It was open air. I didn't feel, even though there were a lot of us there, I didn't feel like it was a unsafe environment at all. Word. Hayden H. is in the house. What up, JG? Holding it down from Oxford, AL. Welcome again, Hayden. Got some friends over that way. Joe Medley, who writes for the Anniston Star, lives over in that general vicinity. I think he lives a little closer to Jacksonville, but it's the same thing. I want to give a shout out to him and his great wife, Rhonda, two of my favorite people. All right, so more about this game. I cannot believe my nose keeps itching. So weird. People talking about me. So I think AU Taxa might have said something important here. He says, leadership is the biggest problem to me. Well, let's think about this. Let's just kind of talk about it. So who's the leader of this team? Like, I'm talking about who's, like, when they're having a shitty practice, like, who's the guy that says, hey, get your shit straight? Now, to me, the guy who has that personality trait would be Jamal. That's why Jamal's here. Jamal is here to be that guy. And I think in a lot of ways, he is that guy. Like, you just wonder a little bit if he has the game to justify being that guy, you know, because it's like he's the fourth or fifth best player on this team. Well, you know what I mean? From relevance this minute. I mean, Sharif is the number one guy. JT and Flanny, Jalen Williams are all probably in that second group. Devin sometimes is, sometimes isn't. You know, Chris Moore's young, and I think he'll be that guy in 2 years, but he's not right now. So I think it would be Jamal. And that's his role. That's what he does. Jamal's a leader. Jamal's a guy that doesn't act like a fool, ever. Not that any of these guys do. I'm just saying that's his role. He's here to keep things straight, and he does a good job with it. See, Corey Dub says, I got mad props during the War Report Wednesday night. The guys over there, Mike G and the boys. Caesar's on that, too. And the other two guys whose names escape me. My bad on that. I've just been, I talk with Mike G most of the War Report guys. My internet fame is quickly becoming legendary, all because of the drain. You're a badass, Corey. It's not because of the drain. It's because of you. Sam H jumping in with a super chat. Thank you, bro. Cephas. Another huge super chat from you, dude. Like, you're basically every week, too. Who has the higher ceiling? Football team with Harsin and crew or the basketball team with the talent that's here? If you want to know my opinion, basketball team. Oh, with the talent that's here. That would be minus Jabari and Trey. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say anything bad about Harsin because we don't have any data. But I have some concerns. There are some things going on that I don't understand, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's a recipe for disaster per se, but there's just some things that I don't understand. So I don't. Jeffrey has tried to tell me that, you know, recruiting was fine and J-Head did as well. Two guys that I trust a lot when it comes to recruiting, but I didn't think they finished off great, and I don't know as though they're starting great either. Although I do like their class of 2022 quarterback, Holden. I think he's going to be good. And it's still very early. Corey Dub says, did you take JG to Rosie's? Asking that of D Lucky. I did eat at Rosie's. I had lunch there with my main man, Josh Moon, who is my friend that we worked together at the Montgomery Advertiser from 2000 to 2012. Josh now is a political reporter. Chris, hold on, Dazer. I got to just give me a second, Dazer. I love you. You know that. Chris Majors says softball pitcher, freshman pitcher Maddie Penna is the truth. I do have that pulled up here, so I was going to take a look. Auburn's up 4-0 on the Southeast Missouri State. I think they're the Redbirds. That is my mom's alma mater. That is in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Again, the Auburn Tigers are up 4-0 in the third, and it appears, based on what my main man Chris M was saying, that Maddie Penna did get the start. 2 2/3, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, no hits allowed. I was talking to on this tip, Chris M. I won't say who you are on the bunker. I don't want to. Those two things aren't known. That link isn't known. I don't want to make it known. I was talking to one of our softball sources, and we have some really good ones, that said that Maddie Penna, as good as she is, and it's very interesting that she got the first start of the season. I mean, not saying she isn't deserving, because she is, but that she's not necessarily the highest ceiling pitcher on that staff as far as the freshman. There was a freshman who played 1A out, I think, in Carrollton. Her name escapes me, but there was some talk that she was actually the better pitcher, but that she has to get in better shape. But if she does, or if she has, then she might be even better than Maddie Penna. But, well, you can see Maddie Penna's doing some serious work right now. First college start of her life, and she's out here just blanking this team. I know Southeast Missouri's not awesome, but still, you're a true freshman. I think something just happened, too, in the game. Nope, that was the end. So middle of the third, Auburn's up 4-0. Good stuff, Chris. No, if you tell them, that's fine. That's not my role. Sam says Rosie's Cantina is a staple of the Huntsville area. I would concur. All right, Deezer, I love you. I'm sorry. I was just in the middle of saying something there, and I still want to take your call. Right now, we've got AU Storm 20 on the line. AU Storm 20, what up, bro?
Hey, Jay, I'm sad. How are you doing?
Word. I know I heard you say earlier you were out. You were sad and you were out. This one stings a little bit, doesn't it?
I'm out, but you brought me back in, man.
How did I do it?
I don't know. The drain, man. The drain brings you back in.
Well,
I don't know how to explain it.
We love to have you back.
I was sitting there. I was thinking about what could I have done to have helped this team win today. Should I have changed my shirt? Should I have worn a different hat? That's when I replied, hey, I'm sad, I'm out. And then, I sat there a little longer and I thought, I'm back in. The drain's too good to sit out on this lovely Saturday afternoon.
Well, here's what
sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be
good,
shit.
Sometimes it may be shit. That's his team, man. And they were were both of those, they're on both ends of the spectrum in this game, because there was times when they played great and there were times when they played like shit.
Yeah, I've tried to, I've tried to be positive about this team for most of the season. I think the majority of the season I've been, excited about the future and looking for growth each game. And each game just gives you a different flavor of what to look forward to. And then also it shows you what has to be worked on. And, I don't know if we're going to see that for the rest of the year, where we have like one game where everything comes together and everybody plays well and, you got everything clicking on all cylinders. I just don't know when we're going to see, and if we're going to see a full game like that again. And I was hoping we'd see that today, especially as the first half kind of went on. But, Sharif just didn't adjust to anything that, he was taking this as a whole in the first half. Probably could have kicked it out a lot more, and he didn't. And I thought he would make that adjustment in the second half, and he didn't. And especially there at the end. And that's where you got to think like, man, that could have been a great learning opportunity. Could he have adjusted to the way that play was going, to the way they were guarding him? Because they were always throwing somebody at him once he got past the first defender at the rim. And he never dumped it off. He never kicked it out. He never did anything like that. And he was always trying to draw a foul, and they clearly weren't calling it. And, that was frustrating. But, I liked what I saw out of Thor. He's had some up and down games all year. And, look, if he can shoot like that going into next year, watch out. I mean, good grief. Having someone like him and Jabari, out there shooting like that.
Yeah.
Man. And Trey Alexander. Watch out for that. But, I'm glad to see Flanagan kind of get out of his funk a little bit too. He needed it, but I just wish we would close that one out. And letting them go on that big run and foul trouble and getting, out-fouled 9-1 at one point, I think just really hurt this team. And that was kind of what wrote it there at the end.
Yeah, foul shooting discrepancy was massive. I think UK went 17 of 28, 25. I can't read very well. And Auburn's 9 of 10.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, big difference in the free throw shooting. And I know Andy and Paul were saying on the broadcast they thought it was kind of BS that little favoritism showed toward Kentucky, which is no opponents in Rupp Arena certainly know that story. But I think Auburn needs to fight through contact a little bit better. I thought that Flanny did that today, and I thought that JT did some of that today. But not that Sharif's wimpy or anything, but I don't know. He needs to finish a little bit more at the rack, my opinion.
Yeah, and I think too what hurts as well is that we don't, I know you've mentioned this a lot, and I have too, but we don't have a second scoring option that can do what Sharif does. And Flanagan has tried to take that upon himself, halfway through the year, and I think that's what kind of got him in trouble and what kind of took the mentality or what kind of got him into some yips, as I would call. And I don't know how different this team would look with JP, with Justin Powell. I really am curious as to what they would look like and how they would play and what the different results would be. And, when Sharif goes out of the game, you've got another point guard in there to facilitate the offense. I think that's going to be the huge mystery, and I hope we're able to figure that out next year. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. There's just there's been some discouraging games past few games, and I've tried to stay positive, but today made me sad. Seeing that one slip away.
Yeah, being ahead at halftime, fighting back late, you just felt like something good was going to happen finally in Rupp Arena, and wasn't meant to be.
Yes, I mean,
Isaiah Jackson.
Do you really think that the stock on Sharif is sliding as each game goes by, as more film comes out, as each team adjusts? I love what Ruxipu said in the chat as to it's a win-win if he leaves or if he stays. I don't know, man. Each game that goes by, I just don't know if he's going to leave. I don't know.
He just has some different.
And you can't.
He has some different influences, right? I mean, that family's not hurting for money. I think that does affect it a little bit. And he knows how good Jabari is. He's played with Jabari for years. So he knows that kid's going to be insane, and it's going to boost his numbers. I mean, but you look at his numbers right now. I'm talking about Sharif, 44% from 2, 24% from 3. I don't know, man. He's not finishing at the rack enough. I don't think so, because I think a point guard, if you're not going to be able to finish at the rack at his age, whatever. I mean, I'm not even really ragging him because I think he's fine. I think he's a tremendous college player. If we're looking at him as an NBA guy,
absolutely.
You either got to finish at the rack or preferably be a good three-point shooter, and he's really neither. So I just feel like there will be a lot of development. There will be a lot of need for development there, and I just don't know if these teams are going to draft him super high knowing that he's got that much to go, Well,
and I've been curious to see how some of those guys that passed up on Auburn this year, like Jalen Green and Kuminga, and that went to the G League Elite team. And I've been kind of watching a couple of their games over the past couple of days. And man, they've got a lot of growing to do. And the NBA game is so much different than what we're seeing in college. And so with that being said, I don't really know what to expect from Sharif in the next level. And I don't know if he was to get drafted, if he would automatically be on an NBA team, or he would have to play G League reps and that's okay with him, or he'd rather just stay here and play. I mean, there's just a lot of different things going, but as each game goes by and as more film comes out on him, I get less and less confident that he's going to leave, because of the amount of growth that he has to do to succeed at that level. I just don't know if he's got it to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he goes, great. I'm going to pull for him. I'm going to, be proud of him, whatever he does. But I'd love for him to come back. And I think this team would be next level, varying a couple things if he was to.
Yeah.
And that Bruce Revenge tour that I've been talking about, man, that train would be coming. It would be. But last thing, I promise you, one day I'm going to do a study on teams and how they always have their best shooting performances against Auburn. Today was a great example. Kentucky, best shooting performance of the year in the second half. They've been awful all year, and then, of course, they get red hot in that one stretch. I feel like, and it's been for years, I've always felt like this. I always feel like every team has their best shooting performance against Auburn. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's just a homerism, like I always feel that way, or it's actual fact. But it's always interesting to me to see that these teams always get red hot against us, or they always have one guy catch fire that like had a big stretch where he like sucked, or a team like Kentucky. Brandon Boston has been awful from three. Yeah. And today he had like 4 in a row. I just don't know. I don't know.
It's just that Kentucky luck, man. I don't know.
You know better than us.
I've seen it happen a few times.
Anyways. Yeah. Well, I appreciate the call, man, and keep doing what you're doing. And we'll see through the end of the season. I think this season's weighing heavy on this team, and they don't have a lot to play for anymore. And it's getting tough. So, I hope we can continue to support them and see what happens. But I'm sure they're starting to feel the weight of the season and the fact they don't have anything to play for anymore. I'm sure it's tough, and I would hate to be in their position. But, he's got to root for them and continue to hope they continue to get better.
Yes, sir. All right, AU Storm 20. I appreciate you, brother, man. You're one of our great callers. Always love you bring a lot of good points and stuff.
No problem, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, see you, bro. Glad we had a chance to bring him back in on this one because he was saying that he was about out. But we brought him back in. One player that just jumped in my head when we were talking about, Sharif's ability to go pro right now is a guy that played at Indiana named Romeo Langford from a couple years ago. Now, he was not a point guard. He's a shooting guard he's from basically Kentucky, from Louisville, suburban Louisville. Went to Indiana. He had a kind of a similar profile. 2-point shooting was solid. 3-point shooting was not very good, which is especially weird for a shooting guard. He ended up going as in middle of the first round as a one and done from Indiana. He has been injured in the NBA, so it's really hard to kind of tell how well it's translated, but he's definitely going to be G League to start with. And I just I wonder if that's approximately what people are going to look at Sharif as, a guy like Romeo Langford. Again, they're not the same kind of player. Romeo's a 2 and Sharif's a 1, and Romeo's a little bit undersized for a 2. Sharif's a little undersized for a point. So they have that in common. Their statistical profiles are similar. I just wonder, Sharif would be like a middle of the first round guy, and then you end up kind of putting him, in the G League to kind of give him a little bit more experience. I just don't know. There's teams that would be cool with that, and there's teams that wouldn't be cool with that. My man, Deezer's on the line right now. Deezer, what up, bro?
How goes it, JG?
Great, man. I'm sorry I had to cut you off early. I was in the middle of a of a softball rant, believe it or not. But we were kind of updating that. I'm sorry, bro. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, you can never interrupt those softball soliloquies.
Hell no, because, man, they're going to be better this year for real, and they got some freshman pitchers that I think they're going to be pretty disgusting, in addition to Yarbrough from last year that they added. So they're going to be better this year, no doubt. Anyway, Deezer, we're talking basketball. What'd you see out there today?
I saw a young team on the road in Rupp Arena that played with some good effort throughout the game, but got beat in the effort category in 2 of the key parts of the game, and especially the beginning of the second half. And that kind of got them behind the 8 ball. And I'm not a guy who rants and raves over officiating, but it did look like they were getting little bit of the sad side of the story there, even early in the game when we were ahead, especially in the second half.
I would agree. I thought there was some, particularly Sharif, for whatever reason, had a few slaps on the arm that weren't called. So I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, even Coach Pearl usually says absolutely nothing about that at any point in time, usually. But in his post game on the radio network said that he was actually asked directly the question about the officiating, and his response was, well, Sharif Cooper averages over 9 free throw attempts per game, and apparently he didn't get fouled today because he didn't have a free throw attempt.
That is true. He is. I was going to look up his actual number in the national scene. I know he's leading the SEC in free throw attempts per game. So he is number 5.
Yeah.
He's a number 5 in the country in terms of fouls drawn per 40. So yeah, it would be very odd for him to not get fouled at all for a whole game.
Yeah. So there's that, but there's you can't always control that, and as a team, you can never make excuses of that when you're on the floor and in the midst of a game. You just got to persevere, and they almost did, and they fought really hard. A lot of teams would have curled up and went to bed when they got behind by 13 or 14 or whatever it was, but they came back and they tied it up, and they were a couple possessions away from winning the damn game.
Yeah,
so,
they were.
Give them credit.
One miss from that kid from Creighton. If he misses that 3, you never know what happens then. And like I mentioned earlier, I feel like sometimes they're just not in the game emotionally, and then in the same game, they'll just completely switch, as they did today, and play great for 8 minutes. And you're just like, damn, I wish it was like this all the time. They'd be a Final Four team. It's just the way it is when you're young, I reckon, Deezer.
It is, absolutely. And I think also you had hit on it before, and there was some talk about it before about the leadership and things like that. It's hard for an extremely, when all your main contributors are young, and so you're looking for a leader on the team. And I know you had mentioned Jamal as, he's one of the main contributors, the only main contributor really that is an upperclassman, but there's things that he is incapable of doing just based on his skill set.
Yeah.
And he's a great 3-point shooter when he's getting a wide open shot, but that has to come from somebody else. And he's not great defensively, and he cannot do anything really on the fast break on his own. He's not a great fast break player at all.
No.
As we saw, at least on one time today, it was pretty sad. But, that when you have a young team, it's hard to have an identity. And, you change from last year, we had 4 seniors and a first senior, and all those guys are gone now. And so everything's thrust in the lap of everybody else, and they're all progressing at different levels. And probably our best player, talent-wise, isn't even there the first 13, 14, 15 games of the season. And he's put in there, and now he's supposed to all of a sudden be the leader of everybody, and he hadn't been on the court for half the season. That's a very difficult position to put a team, especially a young team, in. So, it's not the most desirable position to be in as a basketball team, but it's part of growing, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
If you're an Auburn fan right now, I think there's nowhere to go but up. This team's going to go nowhere but up from here, and you know what you got. You got some studs. Jalen's a good player. JT's a good player. Sharif is outstanding. You've got a top 5 player coming in next year in Jabari. You got a top 20 player coming in from Trey Alexander. So you're going to have some absolute stud ponies coming in. So it's a great time to be an Auburn fan, in my opinion.
Definitely. And also I would caution people worrying about whether Sharif is going to leave. And if he does leave, a lot of people forget, before he started playing, we were doing pretty good until Powell got hurt. And we were playing a different type of offense. And I think maybe we should a little bit try and work some of that in, even with Sharif on the court, because it was more of a team-oriented offense. Obviously, if you give the ball to Sharif, he's going to make the right decision offensively. 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
So we're working through that, but he is a true freshman. So maybe you should have possessions where you switch it up and say, let's not ISO him and let him make decisions and try to run the same type of offense we were with JP when he was playing point guard. But don't worry so much if he does go pro, because they were doing pretty good, and they're even younger back then than they are now. So there's a short portion of time's gone by about a lot of games, and trust me, Bruce will have a plan if he goes. They're going to be fine. They're not going to fall apart with all the talent we have and coming in and all that.
Agreed.
So,
I just wish he had a backup point guard for real this year. Well, another one. You know what I mean? That wasn't really JP's thing. He was supposed to be a shooting guard, you know.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams out there that don't have any point guards. And a lot of people that don't follow college basketball in general don't realize that there's a lot of times. I remember Auburn a few years back, before Harper and whatever, when we had walk-on guys playing point guard because we didn't have a guy that could handle the ball enough to do it that was on scholarship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like every college team, just because they have a name, has a point guard that's able to go out there and do whatever they're supposed to do. So.
Deezer, we love having you on the air, bro. You call in almost every show, and we love having you, bro. Hope you hold it down wherever you are out there in Florida.
I appreciate it, my friend.
I know it hadn't been an easy run for you lately, but we love you, bro.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I forget details and names and things or all the damn medications. Sometimes I just can't keep up with all the normal memory stuff.
No, you're doing a hell of a job, brother. All right,
I
man.
appreciate it. Well, do the best you can. Drink it for me today.
I will do it. See you, brother.
All right.
Bye.
Peace.
There's Deezer, absolute stud. Also worked in for senior reference that BP would definitely give him $5 for right there. We got some super chats that I've fallen behind on because of these awesome calls have been taken. Ross D, you can see here, that's Easy Money. I referenced him earlier. He was one of our Huntsville folks who came out to have dinner and drinks Wednesday night. Absolute stud. I think he was the youngest guy there, actually. So thanks for hanging out with some of us old timers. I'm a little bit older. There was a Russ there who was definitely older than me. Well, no, he's a little older than me probably. And then D Lucky isn't as old as me, but he's a little older. Dob the Bomb's probably a little younger than me, but still a little bit older. So anyway, appreciate you coming out, Ross. Jumping in. I'm sorry, Easy Money, I should say. Also, D Lucky jumps in with a super chat. Says this was for the AA, the administrative assistant. She absolutely rocks. JG did damn good for himself. See y'all later. My administrative assistant, you may know her as Courtney, came with me. Well, actually, I came with her to Huntsville. She was there for some business. And I was like, hey, I'll just go with you because we don't have a daughter at home anymore. She's at college. I have freedom to move. So I went to Huntsville with her. I was actually trailing along. And she came out and hung out and drank a little bit and ate a little bit and hung out with everybody the whole time. So, yeah, also a little scandalous. I think Dob the Bomb may have slipped his number to my wife. I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out later. No, he was actually it's way less salacious than it sounds. I was planning to go over to Dob's house because I know Dob is a big bourbon aficionado, way beyond me. And I was hoping to sneak over there and taste some of his best bourbons, but I wasn't able to do it for various reasons. Your boy Jay got a little bit lit when we were out there. I was drinking some of that Eagle Rare, something called Irons Bourbon, which apparently is local to Huntsville, and their well out there was the Old Forester 86, which I thought was really good for a well. So anyway, all that said, also JB, DC Elite, super chatted earlier. One of my friends who was actually a UK fan but came on the show, or super chatted the show, I should say. Even though, because he's a good winner and a good loser when he loses. Says the drain is like healing. He was quoting Corey W. Says, I love it. Thanks for all you do, JG. Tough game, weird year. Great call, AU Storm 20. You can see JB is getting all the declarative statements in, as many as possible into this super chat. Thanks, JB. You're the man. Can't wait to see you at some point later in the year. Chris M., whose bunker handle I am not going to disclose, says that Aspen Godwin had a 3-run jack while we were on the horn with, I believe it was AU Storm 20. Well, that's obviously discussing softball. Auburn is now up 8-0 at the end of the third. Let's see who's been responsible for that. 3-run jack. Let's see. Alyssa scored a run. Schmidt had 2 ribs. Horton had 3 ribs. So, yeah, doing well. Maddie Penna still has not conceded a hit. 3 innings pitched, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. There you go for the softball update. They're going to be solid this year. But the concern with this team is scoring runs. And then on the baseball side, the concern this season is none. Just keeping everybody healthy. I think Bruce has got, Butch has himself a good ball club over there. So thank you guys for those super chats. Unbelievable. I can't say enough good things about our friends in Huntsville. I had a really, really good time. Good representatives of the AuburnSports.com brand up there. R.M. Schuler as well. I got to give a shout out to R.M. Schuler's wife, whose name I did not get, but she brought their young daughter. I think she was like a little bit less than 1 year old, maybe around there. I don't know. Courtney's better at this than I am, but I just basically sat there and watched over the baby while Ryan had a good time hanging out. That was pretty clutch. Corey says, are we supposed to disclose our bunker handle? I'm not going to do it. Obviously, we got a rule in the bunker about no outing, so I'm not going to do it. Let's see. Taxman says, was Archie there? No. And we were all talking about how Archie definitely would have been there under normal circumstances. But hopefully next time that we do the Huntsville thing, which may not be too long, I don't know if you guys want to hang out with me again, but I think Courtney, knowing the details of why she was up there, I think she's going to be going up there a little bit more. Ben Honest says, Sharif is the worst shooting guard we've had in a while. And that's a bad take right there.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
My statement on Ben Honest's comments. Good God, he's begging for Kareem Canny. Look, man, I like Kareem too, but he was kind of hard on team unity. We'll put it that way. Put him and TJ together, and you really got yourself a problem there. Cam says, I hate to lose, but with a year where we self-impose, with the self-imposed ban to really leave the game. Well, long story short, he thinks that since there's a postseason ban, they'll be able to turn these losses into wins next season, which I totally agree with. It's just going to be a matter of getting a little bit more mature. But I would love to see y'all's faces if there comes a point when Sharif says in May, I don't even know. I don't know how COVID's going to affect the draft this year, but if it's on a normal track, which I think it will be, if in May or June he says, I'm coming back. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to shut the board down. Oh, wait, we'll just do it because it's National Signing Day. We'll just do that. War Eagle 0008 says Dunnins wants to play for War Tampa. Saw that on Twitter. Wonder if anyone would want him on that team. Man, I'd have to defer to Deshaun on that. Ross D says the future is bright. No doubt. Well, there's no doubt. Christy and I love basketball. It's pretty good. I mean, this team's good. Bruce is really good at what he does. What else we got to talk about basketball-wise? I don't know if there's some other things on this box score that really kind of tempted me. Babatunde had another terrible game. I don't know what the deal is with him. 10 minutes, 1 rebound. 2 fouls, 1 block, minus 16 on the plus-minus. Again, when you do it one game at a time, I'm not sure the plus-minus really matters a whole lot, but it seems like every game it's like that. Dylan had kind of a minus game. I mean, he was +1 on the plus-minus, but 10 minutes, 2 boards, 0 points. So you're not getting great performance out of those two guys. That's 20 minutes and 0 points and 3 rebounds. It's not great. So giving out the letter grade, Sharif, I would probably give him a C today. Shooting was poor. Turnovers were poor. Played hard. Played a lot of minutes. Really only took 1.5 shifts off today. I'd give him a C. JT, I thought was an A. Showed the assertiveness that we wanted from him that he hadn't shown the last 3 games. Excellent game. Big reason why they were able to come back. Flanagan, 23 points on 8 of 13 shooting. 5 turnovers still. He's just like an absolute black hole when it comes to turnovers. It's like 5 a game. In fact, let's count these up real quick. I mean, I love Flanagan, and I feel like I am the ultimate Flanagan stan. But at the same time, those of you who shit on him for the turnovers, I have no defense for that. These are his last 5 games. 5 turnovers, 5 turnovers, 5 turnovers, 3, 5, 3, 4, 4. Good God, man. So he's averaging, what's that, 4 turnovers a game for the last 8? And he doesn't even handle the ball that damn much. Yeah, that's got to stop. But I still thought he was very valorous today. He had some big buckets in the second half. I would give him a B or a B+, honestly, even though the bunker might shit on me for that. 6 or 7 from the line. Again, this is not a fluke. He was a terrible free throw shooter last year, and he's a terrific free throw shooter this year. Tons of credit. It ain't easy to do. Jalen, 7 points on 3 of 8 shooting, 4 rebounds, 26 minutes, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. That's a C+ for me. I still liked him in there. Devin Cambridge, 24 points, 4 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 4 rebounds. Had a big bucket there when they were making their run to cut it down to 6. Plays really hard. Still give him a C. Jamal Johnson, C+. He goes -12 on the plus-minus in 22 minutes. It's not great. Javon Franklin, not enough minutes to judge. Chris Moore, probably not enough minutes to judge. Babatunde, I would give a D. And Dylan, I would give a D. So you can kind of see why they had a bad day. A lot of low grades on that deal. Thor and Flanagan really were the only 2 guys that really wowed anybody today. And Sharif, I don't know. We can argue all day about what happened. You know, what did he have? Was there too much contact not called? Does he need to be better at finishing through contact? My answer to that is yes and yes. I don't know if JB's still on here, but I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I feel like he's like Lionel Messi in the soccer world. Lionel Messi, of course, the striker / cam / right winger for Barcelona, who's a tremendous soccer player. He's a short, small dude. And these teams, particularly when he's playing in South America, like for Argentina, like Uruguay, Brazil, Colombia, they all just try to get really, really rough with him and knock him down and break his jaw and stuff. And he's always kind of grown up knowing people were coming at him like that. And through the years, he's gotten to where he can just deal with it a lot better. He absorbs a lot of hits. He knows how to dribble away from the guys that are trying to kill him. And I think for Sharif, you can tell from the way he plays that people have tried to rough him up before and he's getting used to it. But I think he's just got to get a little bit better about finishing through the contact rather than just taking it. He doesn't shy away from it, so that's great. But he's still got to be able to perform in spite of the people that are trying to kill him all the time. And I think that's where he's a little bit short right now. But it ain't a question of toughness or valor, and I think he's willing to fight. I don't think he's spitting the bit at all. And I think I love the way he positions his body. He does a great job of getting the shot. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't get stuffed that much. But he's got to finish more. When he gets to the hole, he's got to get the ball in the bucket. And when you go 6 of 23, that's just a number that doesn't look good. It's a lot of usage and not enough points. And 6 turnovers. I still would give him a B+. I swear I would if he just didn't have 6 turnovers. But he's feeding into the problem. Canoe Man says, please don't let anybody know my bunker handle. Of course, he uses the same handle. That's why it's funny. For those of you who are not familiar with the bunker, you should be, but some people aren't. A lot of these other numbers look very similar, right? I mean, the points in the paint were about even. Auburn up 6. Points off turnovers, Kentucky's up 5. Second chance points, Auburn's up 7. Fast break points, Kentucky's up, 8 or 9. Bench points, I don't really care about bench as much. I think that's kind of some teams use their bench and some teams don't. Doesn't really matter. It was just really, this game came down to, I thought, Kentucky playing superbly the first, let's say, 3 segments of the second half, significantly better than Auburn. And then Auburn just not quite good enough at playing through the contact. But I'm reminded of John Chaney when he talks about, we always get plus. We get so many more shots than my opponent, and we still lose the damn game. And when BP looks at this and he says, look, man, we had 10 extra shots than they did. We had 20 offensive rebounds. Auburn's season high was 21 against St. Joe's. I think the next highest was UCF with 19. And their highest in the SEC, I think, was a 16 or a 15 against South Carolina. So 20 offensive rebounds for Auburn in an SEC game, that's a massive amount. They did a great job on the offensive rebounding. I mean, this should have been enough to win, honestly. I mean, a lot of these peripheral numbers look good enough to win. But that disparity at the free throw line is a problem. Kentucky gets 8 extra points at the line. And the turnovers. I mean, 17 turnovers. That's not, for this team, that's probably about average, but it's still way too many. And to go 12 assists, 17 turnovers, it just doesn't look good, man. That needs to be more like 12. And if you do that, you win the game. War Eagles 0008 says, Jay, heard you're thinking about getting a Peloton. Got one a few weeks ago, and it's pretty great. Neil was right on with this debate. Yeah, I just don't I don't know if that's going to happen, honestly. I am technically a member of 2 gyms now, and they both have, well, one of them has really nice bikes. The other one has nice spin bikes. I don't think I'm going to get a Peloton, but I'm not going to make fun of Peloton anymore. I have a nice bike myself, an actual bike that I ride around my neighborhood when it's at least 57 degrees. So I'll just do with that. Ross D says, shout out to the Harsin family photo op. Let me see if I can pull that up, bro. Because I've had several of my friends contact me about the family photo that Brian Harsin shared on his Twitter feed. I guess it was last week. I need to find it. I definitely want to show you guys this. It's worth talking about. Dadgummit. Have I missed it? I'm not able to find it easily. I know I've seen it. I don't see it on his Twitter feed. Sorry, guys. I know this is scintillating here. I just don't see it. It was a family photo of Harsin and his wife, Kess, obviously, and then his 2 daughters, their 2 daughters, I should say, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think some Auburn people just kind of, they weren't in love with it. Canoe Man says, bold is putting it mildly, Ross. AU Taxman says, do not show it. Looks like War Eagle 0008 is out. Y'all be good. Hey, appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for being a supporter of what we do here, bro. And for just being part of auburnsports.com. You're the man. Bold statement. I wasn't able to find it, AU Taxman. I'm sorry. I would show it. I mean, it's not like it's not dirty or anything. It's just I just didn't feel like it jibed perfectly maybe with what has been like the Auburn way of life, I guess. I think it was, to me, it was more like West Coast. And some other people said it just seemed kind of gauche, kind of nouveau riche in a way. But I'm not able to do it. AU Taxman, I'm sorry. I don't know if you're telling me the truth. I'm not sure I should Google that if I don't know what to do. Corey Dub says, JG, curious to hear your opinion. If Jalen Green is on this AU team, do we postseason ban? I say no. My gut feeling is that yes. I still think they got to get ahead of the penalty. So whether Jalen's here or not. I mean, because you say, well, if Jalen's here and you know he's a one and done, how could you waste the year? Well, I mean, I think you assumed coming into this season that sure he's going to be a one and done. So it's the same kind of deal. And again, as I told you guys before, BP wants to win a national championship. Believe me, it drives him every single day, and the guy busts his ass. He's a very dogged worker. At the same time, getting kids in the first round of the draft is probably as equally as useful to him, because the more he does that, I don't want to say the easier it is for him to get to a national championship, but it unlocks him to recruit at a level that Auburn doesn't normally recruit, right? I mean, 2 or 3 years ago, BP's still the great recruiter that he is, and he still has all the same great assistants that he has right now, who are also great recruiters and who are good developers of players. Just, he has a great staff. I mean, it's insane. I don't think we talk enough about how great this team is, this team of coaches, I should say, and the way that they keep them together. BP has sacrificed money, significant money, personally, to make sure that these assistants stay here and they get paid. I promise you. He goes way above and beyond. He doesn't want us to write about it, and I'm cool with that. But just understand that that's happening. getting kids in the top of the NBA draft is very, very useful to him, useful to the program. Pocket Watch says, I wouldn't call it nouveau riche, but that may be the best description. I just wish that I could pull it up. I don't really know what to say about it. I don't know how to Google it. I don't know what to say. I typed in Harsin family photo. It's not there. I just don't. I don't know how to do it. If you guys send me a link. Pocket Watch makes it. Actually, this is a great point, and I had a few people say this to me. He says, Pocket Watch says, athletic department should have been more helpful there. So, all right, here's how these kind of things work, okay? So, Todd Van Imst is Auburn's football photographer. And Todd, I've known Todd 25 years. He's a pro. He's a great shooter. His job is to take great pictures, which he does. And I'm telling you, Todd is so fucking good at what he does. They have another athletic photographer there named Shanna, and she's awesome too. They are both A-plus photographers. Auburn has cornered the market on great football, on great athletic photographers. I'm telling you, two of the very, very best I've ever seen. Plus, John Reed shoots for USA Today Sports at Auburn all the time. He's a stud too. So Harsin says, hey, man, let's get a family photo. We use it for promotional purposes. Or maybe somebody as part of the football social team comes up with that idea. It's a fine idea. So they come and they get their photo taken, and Todd's out there and he lights it perfectly. If you know, that's a really hard picture to light properly, to have the stadium in the background at nighttime and you still get them lit up. I mean, that's not easy to do. Todd did a great job with it. But after that moment, when Todd takes the photo or he gets it back to the football social people, there's no editorial discussion. Like, yeah, the athletic department should have been more helpful there. There's nobody. There's no person like that. There's nobody to have that conversation with. You take a picture of the family, Todd puts it out, or he gives it back to social, they put it out, and that's that. No, Pocket Watch, I know you weren't. I knew you weren't shitting on Todd. I know. I was just making that point because I'm afraid some people think that. Not you. Todd's awesome. And you know he's awesome. Let me see what Ben says here. Ben usually says something nasty, so let's see what he says. Chad Pruitt saved somebody who made a lot of three balls for us, and also a guy who played through his eye split open. Chad Pruitt saved somebody who made a lot of three balls for us. He saved that person, and also a guy who played through his eye split open. I don't know what that means, dude. I mean, I'd like to answer it, but I don't know what it means. He saved somebody who made a lot of three balls for us? I don't know what that means. Ryan S. says it was corny as hell. Yeah. I don't know, man. I talked to some of you guys about it in Huntsville. All right, so long story short, the Auburn Tigers lost another one in Rupp Arena. Haven't won there since '88 when Coach Sonny Smith was there. They're going to play Mississippi State Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. I don't know how Mississippi State did today. They were playing somebody bad today. Vanderbilt. Oh, my God, they lost? Vanderbilt beat them 72-51? Good golly, Miss Molly. Woo! That is stinky. On the line right now, we've got Stu Pup. What up, Stu?
Hey, Jay. How you doing, man?
I am amazed that Vanderbilt kicked the shit out of Mississippi State today, dude. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, Jerry Stackhouse must have got him fired up then. Got him playing. So,
I wonder how he did
good.
that.
I'm sorry you broke up on me there. I just chilling out. Yes, the Harsin family photo, that could have went better. Yes, I was told all these years about, Auburn, yes, we lose free throw battles because we don't drive and we kick threes, and now we get a point guard that drives all the time and gets to the foul line. Yet at Kentucky, he doesn't get any free throws. I'm a little salty over that.
I understand. I think you're right to be.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, Jay. I don't think I'm real high on Auburn athletics outside of the baseball program right now. I'm a wait and see on Harsin. If Major Applewhite is to be believed, I think we've got good things coming, but I really want to see it. If the basketball team, if your goal is to go to the tournament next year, I think we're going to be a tournament team next year, and you get a chance when you go in there. But I'm a little concerned about. I don't know that I'd order Bruce Revenge Tour 2021-2022 T-shirts just yet. They've got some flaws they've got to fix.
Word.
And does it seem like the guys on our team that you would consider more everybody in the bunker always wants to go, well, Bruce has lost the team. It's the favorite thing online. It's when things aren't going well. Well, so because this coach has lost the team or this, that, and the other. You know the saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, that's not what's going on here. I think the team's playing hard, and they gave a really good effort today. And you got Kentucky, you got Rupp today is what happened. But what I just feel like our team is like the guys that are more polished basketball players lack something athletically, and the guys that are the real athletes lack polish as basketball players. And I think that leads to this discombobulation of the team right now. And I don't know how you fix that unless you just get better players, or you just improve. I don't know. I think there's going to be some hard decisions on some guys. If you want to go to the Final Four, if you want to be a national championship team type next year, and that's what we've kind of been promised and kind of been looking for, if you're an Auburn fan,
yes,
that if Sharif comes back with Jabari and this the kid from Oklahoma, Alexander, this is going to be a dirty team. If they don't clean up some things and they don't figure out something with some of these guys, I don't know that they're a Final Four capable team next year. Tournament, yes, but and then once you get in there, Bruce gives you a chance. But the machine, I don't know. I don't know that I see that out of this bunch.
All right. I just think you got to project a lot, and I mean, but you can.
Yeah.
I mean, JT today was absolutely insane after having 3 bad games in a row. I mean, he can be this kid,
Oh yeah, he's incredible. I think he is the one that I feel like, even if he has a couple bad games, like he's got a post move there. You can see there's refinement coming in his game. What worries me is if anybody's played like with a great point guard, and I know Auburn does a lot of usage with Sharif, but a guy like him, he's getting people. You're going to get better shots with a guy like Sharif, and there's still guys on this team. They don't make shots, and when he's hitting them in the breadbasket and getting shots in rhythm and things, and they're not making shots. Now you get maybe next year they make that shot. I don't know. It can happen, but that's the only thing that worries me. You're using Sharif so much, it's hard for me to watch and project to say, hey, I think this person. Dylan Caldwell's kind of my guy that I'm having trouble projecting. I like him. I think he's got skill, but I really haven't seen a post move other than catching a lob out of him. And he's a good rebounder. He seems like he's a good rebounder, but does he can he catch the ball in the post, make a move, get to the glass, and bank one in from a short shot? You know what I mean? I don't think we've seen that from him.
Yeah, not yet
this year. I think more because I don't know that he can do that. I can project that. I think he will, and I do. I think he's going to be okay. Chris Moore's another one. I think you can look at him, and it's a little funky, but he's got a Chuma-type body. I think I can project to him, but they don't use him enough.
Not right now.
I just think that's just where I think I'm struggling as a fan projecting is I feel like there's going to be some tougher decisions on this team, not necessarily kicking guys off or getting them transferred out, but somebody like Allen. To be a Final Four team, I think Allen's got to be your first guy off the bench, not your second option. And when Jabari comes in, I think that there's a guy you play over. Cambridge, he's Malik Willis is what he is. And he's got to embrace that role. And they've got to find somebody to be dirty. They've got to find somebody to be a garbage man on this team. Whether that's on this team or you go out and you get somebody from a mid-major that's been in a program for 3 to 4 years that's got a horseshoe on his shoulders, a big burly square guy to fight in there.
Horseshoe.
You saw it.
I get it, man.
He got that cut on his horseshoe on his shoulder, but some shoulder presses and some bench presses. That's what that you saw some of that. I think you saw there's a lot of length on this team. There's not a whole lot of ass. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. We got to find somebody you got to find somebody square to go in there and put a rear end on somebody. And when somebody comes over for a block, they don't get bum rushed on some of these offensive putbacks. That's been happening way too much this year. But again, I mean, I don't know. I think as I was watching the game, I tried to remember, as disappointed as I am. I mean, look, I think we're 13 games into the year. We've got a couple more weeks left. They're at least interesting to watch. They're frustratingly interesting to watch, and they're playing. And so, right now as we closing out this, hopefully, the country, hopefully we start getting these vaccines and things, and they're at least giving me something to do on one night a week and then on a Saturday. And I do appreciate them for that. So I don't want to be Debbie Downer. I'm not going to be Debbie Downer. There's going to be some tougher decisions, I think, on this team next year to get it to, if I can project them to the tournament, I don't know that I can project them to be dirty right now.
All right.
Especially if with the amount of usage Sharif gets, I'm a little concerned. But again, I'm not going to say they're not either, because if you get to the dance, Bruce can he gives you that force multiplier. So I don't want to harsh anybody's buzz or think everybody like Stupup's trying to be down anybody, that sort of thing. I'm not, but it's been a little bit of a wake up call this year.
Word.
That
I agree.
That maybe there's a little bit more there that needs to be done from a roster perspective and and before we get there. I think temper your expectations, kind of like my golf game. I don't want to, if I don't expect anything, I'm not disappointed. So I think tournament next year, and then I'm gonna maybe throttle my expectation back so I can enjoy it a little more next year when maybe they overdo my expectations.
All right, Stu Pup, another great call, brother. I appreciate your insight on this. And you to just clarify or to summarize, you want more ass. That's basically what I got from this.
Oh, everybody, man, you can't ever get enough ass. And, you got to have a little more ass. And get a Peloton. I bought one. I bought a used one, and I love it. And I tell you, when we get in the off season and things, I'd love to have somebody talk about weight loss and things. As somebody that probably needs to lose a few lbs, I think that'd be interesting. I'd like to, I think people would like to hear about the journey of some folks and how to do that, and maybe inspire some folks like me that need a little help and get in a little better shape.
It's a good idea.
So, I enjoy my Peloton just because I like the coaching. I like the one on the classes and all. So, I'm not Cole Kubelik or anything on it. I'm not. He's at the top of the leaderboard. I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard, but I think I've gotten a lot of use out of it for 2 months. I'm definitely with Neil and them. It's just nice to get up here, get the workout in, and get the shower and go take your kids to school instead of having to go to the gym and all that stuff.
Good stuff.
But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in since she was having a little joke about that. I wasn't trying to laugh there.
No, hell no.
All
right, bud.
Okay, thanks for the show, man. I enjoy it. I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you being such an awesome super chatter too, Stu Pup. Appreciate it, brother.
Oh, it's fun. The streak will die one day, but not after it lost to Kentucky.
Okay.
So y'all have a good one.
See you, bud.
See you.
There he is, Stu Pup. He's an absolute beast. Talking about the weight loss situation. I've been able to knock off 30 pounds since the 26th of October. Have not used Peloton on that. Really, it's more about, for me, it's just about not snacking and eating better. Not necessarily eating healthy food, just eating less and less often. Corey Dubb says that we discussed the possibility of Walker Kessler transferring to AU. Do we know that he's leaving? I don't know if that's actually occurred. Let me see. I don't think he's not in the transfer portal or anything. There was a report on one of the other sites from a insider that we all know, Stephen Hooks, who's certainly legitimate, that said he understands that Walker Kessler is not happy at North Carolina and that he may want to be bouncing at the end of this season. And if the NCAA allows everybody to have one free transfer, maybe he would consider coming to Auburn since he chose North Carolina over Auburn to start with. I just wonder a little bit. Jeffrey Lee and I wondered at the time when he was being recruited, and he was like a 5-star guy or maybe a high 4-star. I don't remember exactly, but if he really fit what Auburn was doing, because you look at who's going to play center next year? I mean, Jalen's going to play, Jabari, is going to play 4, so it's going to be JT, who's really kind of a stretch 4, I guess, or it's going to be Akingbola, or it's going to be Dylan. I mean, who knows? But a traditional back to the basket, 6'11" center, kind of like Austin Wiley. I mean, I don't. I feel like BP would be better suited to go ahead and accentuate a point guard of some kind, either who can play behind Sharif for a year or who can play in the number 1 spot if Sharif's not here. I think that would be much better. Canoeman says Stephen Hooks is as legit as it gets for basketball insiders. No argument from me. Chris M. notes that Auburn softball, I should say, has completed their first win of the day, which is an 8-0 victory over Southeast Missouri State. Maddie Penna throws, I don't think it's a fair statement, but she did throw a no-hitter. It was a 5-inning no-hitter because Auburn was up by so much. She ends up allowing, of course, no hits, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. That is a terrific start to her college career. And honestly, that's kind of what you're expecting to see from an Auburn softball team. You want to see them kick the shit out of smaller teams like that because when you get to the SEC, it is unforgiving. Ben B jumps in with a super chat. Ben B's obviously a friend of the site, been with us a bunch, and he's a great super chatter and a great chatter in general. It says, Big Cat update. As we understand it, Big Cat is still here, and I would consider it likely that he's going to play here next season. There is some chatter that he could go to Oklahoma, and I don't know exactly where it stands with OU at this point, but if I had to bet, I would say that he would be here. Slater says the Harsin family photo is from on his personal Instagram account. Okay, let me see if I can pull that up. There's no guarantees on this because I don't have Instagram on this computer here. I don't know if it'll say, you need to log in to see this. Oh, okay, here we go. Thank you for that, bud. Let me go ahead and get this sized up for you guys. All right. And I'm going to pull it over. I hope you guys don't get mad at me for this because some of you guys are like, don't do it, man. All right, so there's the family photo Brian Harsin posted on Instagram recently. And look, man, there's nothing wrong here. I mean, it's not like it's inappropriate, but to me, it just doesn't. And maybe this is me, I don't know, virtue signaling or something, but this just doesn't look Auburn-y to me. Like, this just doesn't look Auburn to me. I could be wrong. And it doesn't matter what I think about it. It matters what you guys think about it. Way more. And obviously, Brian Harsin, good dude, football coach at Auburn. His wife's beautiful. His daughters are beautiful. Like, what do you want me to say? But just, I don't know. Like, you just look at it, you just think that doesn't really look Auburn to me, which maybe is a good thing. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's good that he doesn't look Auburn. Maybe Auburn needs a change. This doesn't look like, for instance, what you would see from the Malzahns, but maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing. Doesn't look like necessarily what you'd see from the Tubervilles, but that's not a good thing or a bad thing. You might have seen this from the Chiswick's, but I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not being judgy. I'm not. It matters more about what you guys think. Just saying. Corey Dubb jumping in. Says, just because I want to be known as a great super chatter, it's a pride thing. You were already a great super chatter. You're awesome. We're glad to have you, brother. I'm planning to go out and drink tonight, so, I mean, I don't know if you and your girl want to go out. Corny Mofo says, I think it's just more of a Western feel. Corny says, I joined late. What's wrong with the family picture? That's a fair question. We were talking about this earlier. Some people thought that was a bold choice for some of the clothing choices there. And I was trying to say I thought it looked more Western, like just kind of West Coast. But I think that some other people see that as kind of nouveau riche in a way, kind of gaudy. And I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth. And I also don't think that my opinion matters. I think it's more about what you guys think, because ultimately everything they do on social media, well, not everything, but that particular post on social media is kind of speaking to you guys. Like, hey, this is us. You know, we're here for you guys. We love Jordan Hare. We love Auburn, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, obviously a lot of what they do is for recruiting, but I don't necessarily think that was. I think that was more speaking to you guys. AU Taxman says, I'm more concerned with whether the offense looks like Malzahn's. We're laughing, but we're but you're right though. Ross D says, them white heels though. Yeah. Where is that picture? I've lost it. How could I have lost it already? Good the golly, Miss Molly. Put it up again. Yeah, those are. Okay, it's he has a great family. I mean, I don't really know where else to put it. The reason I brought it up is that I had some friends, a couple Bammers, one group of Samford people, some Auburn people would just be like, "What's up with the family picture?" And I was kind of like, "What do you mean?" And it was like, they'd look a little. They don't necessarily look Auburn-y. I don't know. I'm trying to get deep into that anyway. So Brian Harsin, definitely the head coach. Auburn resumes play, as I mentioned, Tuesday night. No more Wednesday night games for Auburn. No more Wednesday games for Auburn the rest of the season. Isn't that crazy? So a Tuesday night matchup with the hated Bulldogs from Mississippi State, led by Coach Ben Howland, who I believe has a national championship. Am I right? I think he won a natty at when he was at UCLA. See if he won a natty. I really do think he did. No, he didn't. He made it to back-to-back Final Fours in 06-07 and 07-08, but did not win a natty. Boy, when they hired him, I was like, golly, they're going to really get somewhere, and then he's just kind of been okay. I was somewhere covering that UCLA team. Why in the hell would I have been covering a UCLA team? I must have been covering Alabama back then, because when I was at the Advertiser, they had me cover some Alabama games on the road. I loved basketball. And Auburn in this era didn't do shit in basketball, so I didn't really have much to cover. I think I covered that UCLA team at one of the regionals. Saw a great game one time because I was covering Alabama. I had to cover them out there. I think they were in Cleveland. I don't remember what Alabama did because I don't really care, but I saw the West Virginia against Wake Forest game in the round of 32, I think, and it was Chris Paul playing for Wake Forest. That was a great game. Ben B says, at least Suzanne Tuberville would have had a drink in her hand. Wow.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Canoe Man says, well, both hands, Ben. You guys, come on. Corey Dub says, based on the pick he took with Derek Brown, Harsin may give you a run on the calf game, JG. Interesting. I only saw, I guess, the top half of that picture. I didn't see there were calves involved. Calves. Really? You think this counts as calf game? This ain't calf game. You kidding me? There he is right there. I don't know. They look, I mean, I'm not to say he has bad calves, but they're not blowing me away. Oh, back in the days when we could walk down the coaching hallway, huh? I spent a lot of years walking up and down that hallway. And then Gene Chizik, a man who never built a wall and built 2 walls actually, and prevented us from ever going back there anymore. Back in the 90s and 2000s, I would go door to door. I mean, during coaching hours, like office hours, and ask coaches questions and stuff. But now it's a different world now. Coaches make too much money to be hanging out with reporters. Ross D says, do you see Auburn landing a top player through the portal? I imagine you mean football. Yes, I think they're going to grab 1 or 2. We were actually talking about one yesterday. Defensive back from West Virginia. I'm sure Jeffrey Lee's talked about this, which I think could come in handy. Although Auburn has a lot of depth at defensive back. Nehemiah was great last year. Nehemiah Pritchett. Those of you who watched every game, I know a lot of you guys do. He never blew me away where I was like, damn, that dude's really awesome. But you look at the numbers and he's really awesome. And then you see somebody like Roger McCreary, who I feel like when we watch him all the time is awesome. His stats are kind of like, he's pretty good. So I don't know. So Texman says, Beeline coached that West Virginia team. Man, I don't know. It's so long ago, dude. That was a situation where I was, again, covering Alabama, and I didn't really want to be there anymore. And I just went over to the arena and started watching games. See if I can find it. I'm just since we're here, I'll look up what year it was. I'm thinking it was 2005. Yes. 2005 tournament in Cleveland, second round, West Virginia against Wake Forest. West Virginia wins 111-105 in double overtime. I'm not able to access the stats from that exact game, but believe me when I tell you that it happened. It was a good one. It was very cold in Cleveland, and had a good time. Pocket Watch says the problem with the photo is that it was clearly a planned photo. I mean, yeah, obviously. Oh, you actually asked about Jim Byline. Let me look. I'm sorry. Excuse me. What a dipshit. John Beeline. Beeline, yes. That is him. Skip Prosser was the head coach at Wake Forest. Rest in peace. Yeah, it was definitely a planned photo. Auburn Stuff says the clothing choices were incongruous and the structure of the pose wasn't balanced.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
This was brought to me by a mother of children. You think we need to wrap it up there? Maybe we do. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but my man JB, DC Elite, put up a super chat a couple hours ago. And I didn't notice this at the time, but he had an unusual, I'm going to put it back up there. It was $6.13, which, interestingly, as I mentioned, JB is he's a UK fan. He's a UK graduate, as am I. 6-13, as I believe that is UK's record now. 6-13. It's pretty funny. I think it's funny. More Production says life is cruel and meaningless. Oh, Pocket Watch says, what about Coach Flo? Great point. You were asking earlier, I don't know if it's you, Canoe. It's probably you. Talking about Chad Pruitt. So Chad Pruitt is, what is his official title? He's basically just badass. I don't know. He's like coaching badass. He's probably like a special assistant to the coach, or let's see what he actually is. He's basically an assistant coach at Auburn. He is officially the director of operations, but he's the guy that helps a lot with game planning. He does a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff for Auburn. He kind of came up through the ranks as a great girls basketball coach at Lee Scott Academy, and then he caught on with BP when he came in, just kind of as a local guy, but he's really proven his worth through the years. And I don't know if it's been reported before, but he was a finalist for the job at Samford last year. They ended up hiring the guy from Mountain Brook, who's terrific. But the question was, Coach Flo, the basketball coach at Auburn right now, is having a very tough season. I think they're winless in the SEC, and they lost to Georgia by 20 the other day. And so the thought is that maybe Flo's not going to be back next year. Probably won't be back next year. You can't go winless in the SEC, I don't think. So would Chad be a good replacement? I think he would be a good replacement, but I feel like Chad's kind of on that track where he's kind of trying to move up in the men's game versus the women's game. Not dissing or anything. I just think that's kind of his passion at this point. So I don't think you would see that. And I still think that Auburn women's basketball is a good job. And I think Auburn can recruit well there. Flo has done a fine job recruiting, honestly. I don't understand what happened with this team specifically. But I think Auburn could go out there and recruit nationally as far as a coach. Pocket Watch says he was only at Lee Scott for 7 or 8 years. I want to say he won 4 state titles. He won at least 3. And I think everyone agrees that Chad's just the freaking badass. I mean, he's got huge things ahead of him. And again, you look at the staff, dude, on the Pearl side, he has so many guys on the staff that are like studs. I mean, like, Chad's the best director of ops in the world ever in the history of the world. Ira's doing an awesome job. He's a great recruiter and a good coach. Wes is both. He's been a head coach before, been a successful head coach before. Great with game plans, great with individual coaching. Good recruiter. I mean, he's really, really good. Mike Burgermaster, I can't say enough about this guy. Like, I don't know what his official title is. Let me see. I just know these guys personally. So I don't necessarily know what all their titles are because I don't pay that much attention. I don't sit there and go, hey, Burgo, what's your title? He's the assistant director of operations. So Burgo is kind of like the X's and O's guy. The guy's a freaking genius. I'm telling you, like, I bet there's not 10 assistants in the country, anywhere, that are better than Burgo when it comes to, like, strategy, numbers, trends, all the stuff that I try to give you guys on synergy. Like, he's got that in his head. And he's expensive. I mean, like, he's really good. And BP's like, I don't care. Whatever it takes to keep you guys around, I'm on it. And in a lot of coaches, you hear coaches say that shit. Frank Beamer, back famously at Virginia Tech, he talked that talk and he also walked that walk. He gave up money to make sure his assistants got Bud Foster and those guys, that he kept his assistants around. And I think that's a big reason why they were so damn good. But a lot of coaches say that. Not many coaches actually walk that walk, and he does. I'm talking specifically about BP. So he has I mean, this is the best group of assistants I've ever seen in any sport at Auburn. And football has had some good assortments through the years, but this basketball group is insane. Pocket Watch says, how do you not know Burgo's title? I mean, I know Burgo personally, so I don't sit around and go, hey, man, what's your title? I mean, my best friend Johnny's an accountant here in town. I don't go around saying, what's your title? I don't have any idea what his title is. I have no idea. My friend Cuz, who's kind of a bank IT guy up where he lives, I don't know what his title is. I don't care. Do y'all know what my title is? Yeah, you do, because it's published right there. I'm the Commodore. But, I mean, if I wasn't the Commodore, would you know? No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad you guys know who Burgo is, though. That's why you guys are awesome. That's why the people in this chat and on this show are the best, because you guys know who Burgo is. Stoop Up says crop top and leather pants with that pose is an interesting choice for that young lady. Yeah. I just don't know what to say about it. Like, I understand why the people brought it to my attention, but at the same time, I'm just like, they're from the West Coast. Like, it's just kind of how people, I mean, it's just a different world. And if the question was, is he going to assimilate to what's going on here, or is he going to kind of stay, or his family going to stay true to who they are? Well, they're being true to who they are. But I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I've hung out with some of my daughter's friends from college, and although they don't exactly look like these younger girls here, they look something like those girls there. So I don't know. I see both sides of it. Pocket Watch says just no respect for Burgo or your CPA friend. You know what? When it comes to JG and his insights on this stuff,
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I have to understand, Canoe Man, what you're saying. Ross Deal, his boy Chase is a straight up crush on Burgo. I mean, I feel like sometimes I have a pretty good idea on analytics with this team. You know, I mean, I feel like me and Justin Ferguson probably talk about it more than anybody else on this beat. But boy, when you sit down with Burgo and he's just like, you're like, I'm nowhere near where I need to be. All right, I guess we'll wrap it up there, guys. I do want to say thank you to all you guys, though, for being here. I know we've had a lot of you go wire to wire today. Of course, our super chatters are badasses. Sam H., Ryan S. Ryan, thank you, bro. Hanging out with him the other day. JB, my main man in D.C. Easy Money, my main man in Huntsville. Appreciate you, bro. D. Lucky, who's now gone from the show, but we love him as well. Ben B., appreciate you, bro. I hope I answered your question to your satisfaction. Of course, Corey Dubb, my main man. Here in the Montgomery area. I don't know if he actually is in Montgomery, but he's probably near Montgomery. Corey Dub now asks, how good was the Jason Alexander Super Bowl commercial? Dude, I didn't see it. I was drinking with some friends at the country club. I'm not a member myself, but I was invited before you guys start. And I was just kind of drinking and hanging out. Wasn't paying that much attention. But I would like to see it. I'd like to know. I will say right now, I've said it before on the show, and I'm going to say it again. I hope this doesn't disappoint you guys. I have never seen one single episode of Seinfeld from start to finish, and I just don't feel like I'm missing anything. Like, I respect the hell out of that show. I know a lot of you guys are Seinfeld fans. Jerry Seinfeld was great. I just didn't get into the show. Like, my favorite part of the show is Julia Louis-Dreyfus because she's my kind of girl. Like, she's a ball breaker. She's very outspoken. She's an alpha girl. I love that about her. And Elaine wasn't necessarily that much. She wasn't necessarily an alpha girl in that show, but she was in Veep. Selena Meyer was definitely a baller in Veep. But anyway, just wasn't a Seinfeld guy. But Jason Alexander is still a badass. I mean, look, again, it's like how I feel about Bruce Springsteen, Pearl Jam. No disrespect at all to those guys, and I understand why they're all going to be Hall of Famers if they're not already. Surely Bruce Springsteen's already in, but I bet you Pearl Jam is too. But like, their music just doesn't speak to me. I don't know, just doesn't. Dancing in the Dark, love it. Everything else, Life Wasted, love it. Everything else, Even Flow, good song, you know. But these people listen to Jeremy and Glorified G, and they're like, man, that stuff really speaks to me. That's great. I'm happy. For me, I hear Prime Mover by Rush. That speaks to me. You guys probably think that sounds like, you guys probably think it,
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
maybe that's how Rush is for you guys. For me, it's just the sweet sounds of Geddy Lee and Neil Peart, by the way, and Alex Lifeson. It just speaks to me. I don't know. It just speaks to me. By the way, I was in GameStop the other day. I had one of my controllers from my Xbox was acting up, and when I bought it in early December, I went ahead and got a warranty on it because they're always messing up on me, and so it messed up, and so I brought it in to get it replaced, and she's like, the girl Chloe at the GameStop was like, we don't have any in stock. We haven't had any in stock for 2 months. I'm like, the GameStop doesn't have any Xbox controllers, not just the one in stock? No, man, there's a shortage. F in the chat for that. So anyway, I'm getting one shipped to me from freaking Timbuktu or wherever the hell it is. I don't even remember why I'm telling the story. I completely forgot, administrative assistant. Anyway, I got a new controller coming to me. I had a reason for telling y'all that story, but I forgot what it was. Forget it. Jesus. Canoe Man says Julia Louis-Dreyfus actually is not a billionaire. She is filthy rich, though. Right. She is the daughter of a very wealthy banker or investor from Europe, I believe. But yeah, she has a ton of money. You would not necessarily know it, though. My wife and I are huge fans of hers, particularly in Veep. Veep might be our all-time favorite show. It might be my all-time favorite show. That show is so fast. Like, every show has like 50 million jokes in it. Yeah, there's a girl named Rachel Axler who was the chief writer for that show, and she's also just so insanely brilliant. The things that go through my mind about Julie Louis-Dreyfus and how bright she is. I can't wait for her next project. I hope it's really funny. Why did I tell you guys a story about the Xbox? It's so stupid. There was a reason, and I just forgot what it was. But I did get a new controller. I just haven't actually received it yet. It'll be there in 10 days. We promise. I had no idea there was going to be a shortage. Is there a shortage of bourbon? Not at all. So, again, we started off with the Elijah Craig 18, which to me is a solid bourbon, but it's not worth what it is, in my opinion. And then we finished with the Knob Creek Single Barrel Select. This is a 9-year bourbon right here, 120 proof, I believe. I think it drinks better than that. It's not super hot. And this is a store pick from Christie's in East Knoxville. So if you guys are up that way, you want to check out Christie's. They almost always have something cool in there. Like, you know, when you show up to an ABC store here in the state, it's just generally the same shit. I mean, it's not a shit. I'm just saying, you know, it's the same, whatever, 70 bourbons that you see every single day, Monday through Friday. But at Christie's, they usually have 2 or 3 things that would stick out to you. Veep says it was Pocket Watch says Veep was insanely well done, especially if one has worked in the various halls of power. I can't say that I have, but I absolutely love that show. And I'm sorry that it's off the air. AU Taxman says Julie Louis-Dreyfus's dad was a billionaire. I think I remember seeing that, yeah. Ravine, my main man. Boom. Says, how's it going, gents? Well, I guess the ball didn't bounce our way today. Yeah, the whistle didn't blow Auburn's way either. Although, you know, you guys know I'm not one to rag on officiating, and I'm not one to rag on officiating today either. I'm just saying that Sharif getting 0 free throw attempts today when he's number 5 in the entire country at drawing fouls is a little bit questionable, considering he continued driving like normal today. But I still think he's got to do a better job at finishing at the rack. I mean, those two things can be true concurrently. That there were some bad calls today, bad non-calls, and he also needs to finish better in traffic. He's great at getting in there. He just needs to finish a little bit more, and it's fine. He's young. JT, today, finished like an absolute boss. He had 3 consecutive games where he played like crap, or I didn't think he played well, and then today he was great. He was sensational in the second half. Had 2 huge buckets late. It was a problem for Kentucky. And I'll never understand how Auburn just cold calls him in December one year and goes, hey, man, I know you're like the number 80 player in the country. You're 6'10". You're 17 years old. You're going to reclassify. You're going to leave high school a year early. You have incredible hops. You're 6'10", and you can actually shoot the 3. Hey, man, I know we've never even called you before, but why don't you come down and take a visit and fuck it, we'll just offer you a scholarship. And he says, yeah, man, I'm cool with that. Boom. And they get him. I mean, he would be the best player that Auburn's ever recruited in the last 20 years. And then for BP, it's like, hey, man, just come down and take a look. And he's like, word, love it. He's almost like a throw-in. You guys are also mentioning that Tony Hale, who was Gary was his name in the show at Veep. He is the kind of blunt affect personal assistant to Selena Meyer in the show Veep. Is from Birmingham. That's absolutely true. AU Taxman says he's a Samford alum. Yes. War Production says oops. What are you oopsing about, bro? You should never oops. We're glad to have you, bro. Collins is with me on Bruce Springsteen saying he is meh. Yeah, I mean, again, mad respect for the guy. He's awesome. He's a fine musician. He did it the right way. He's never really been in trouble. He's been a positive influence. Like, he's all the great things about him. He's a great dude. And his music doesn't suck to me, but it just doesn't speak to me, man. Like, Dancing in the Dark's a great song from 84. Tunnel of Love's a really good song. You know, I read a long paper one time, seriously, and it was from a Catholic either priest or deacon writing about how he felt like Tunnel of Love, the song, was actually an ode to Catholicism. Yeah, and it actually made sense to me. Maybe that's what it really is. I take it that way anyway. Also, The Rising. That's a good song, too. But like my friend John Zener, who covers Auburn for the Associated Press, also John Clay, my friend who covers Kentucky for the Lexington Herald-Leader, they are absolutely eat up with Bruce Springsteen. I bet you they could tell you every song. And I'm just not there, man. One more thing before we go. So the other day, I found out through this way and that way, I think it was a thread on Reddit, that when I was in college, I'm telling you the old days, when I was in college from 90 to 90, well, undergrad, from 90 to 94, there was no internet. Maybe at the very end of that, but whatever, in the beginning. So I would go to the record store, and you would basically try to figure out what to listen to, what to buy, right? And I heard this band, like they would have these little listening stations, and you would listen to the music, and you'd say, I like this, or nah, this sounds like shit. There was this group called Tabitha's Secret. This, again, I went to Transylvania University, which is right down the street from UK, so I would go to the UK record store, which is like this slum-ass place, right? You know, it's like roaches in the corner or whatever. But then they'd be listening to a lot of like garage and shit like that, which is cool, whatever. So anyway, I heard this Tabitha's Secret group, and I listened to the headphones, like, they're pretty damn good. So I got the Tabitha's Secret CD and listened to it and liked it. And, you know, through the years, I don't really think of it much anymore, but I liked it at the time. I come to find out that Tabitha's Secret is essentially Matchbox 20 before they became Matchbox 20. Like, that's what, like, 3 of the band members from Matchbox 20, including Rob Thomas, were in before Matchbox 20. And so now I don't know how to feel about myself. Like, does that mean I was ahead of the curve on a shitty group like Matchbox 20? And I should feel proud of myself? Or was I on the front edge of Matchbox 20 and I didn't hate them and I should be mad at myself? I don't know. These are the questions, you know. Pocket Watch says Transy had a great location. It sure did. 4 blocks north of downtown. I was able to go to UK games. I could walk to UK games because it's right downtown. There at they have a new name for that place, but we called it. I don't know what we called it. There was a name for it. I mean, it's Rupp Arena, but that whole complex. There's like a mall down there and all that shit. It's 4 blocks away from me. And then we could also. There was the Lexington Opera House was only 2 blocks away, and I saw George Carlin there, who I absolutely adore. Still, even though he's passed away, 8 years ago? I don't know. AU Taxman's with me on Bruce Springsteen. I'm glad to hear that. So anyway, Tabitha's Secret. Matchbox 20. Like, Matchbox 20? It's like, Jay, what are you doing? Like, those guys suck. They sure did make a lot of money, though. I don't know. Still can't believe I told you about my Xbox controller. Why did I do that? There was a reason for that. All right, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. We're way past talking about basketball. I'm sorry, guys. This is starting to sound more like a summer show. I've said that for 2 straight weeks now. Of course, it is, February 13th. I mean, we're getting toward the end of Auburn's basketball season, and once they get to the last regular season game, that's a wrap, That's a WRAP, wrap. I'll tell you something else that kind of been as far as a summer concept. So I listen to 80s on 8. I don't know if you guys listen to 80s on 8. I don't know. Leif's probably about Leif's younger than me. I know some of you guys are close to, it's 3 a.m. Canoe Man, I'm going to give you a clap for that one, buddy. Oh no. Do I not have a clap? I know I have a clap. Yeah, here we go. That's a very clever answer right there. Oh, now I forgot I was going to tell you. Pocket Watch says basketball is already over, just hasn't finished yet. That's exactly right. We're just going to have to talk about next year a lot. And then it's going to hinge on, either Sharif coming back or them finding a great grad transfer. Either of them can happen or both of them can happen. Well, I forgot what I was going to tell you guys. Still debating on what we're going to do this summer. My wife is now, she got the first shot of the vaccination a week and a half ago. Nope, coming up on 2 weeks ago. Tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks. So she's due for her second shot a week from tomorrow, which is great. And then my mom finally went and got in line at the COVID clinic and got her shot yesterday, her first shot. So that's good. So here in about 3 weeks, I'm going to be the only person in my family that has not gotten the shot. I take that back. My daughter's still down in South Alabama. I'm sure she's had it. I mean, come on. You really think these kids are hanging around in dorm rooms going, hey, man, put your mask on? No, they're not. I wonder when regular people like me and y'all, I don't know about y'all, but me, when we're going to be able to get the shot. I was thinking April. I'd love to get it right now. Hey, you Texan says, dude, there's nothing wrong with liking Matchbox 20. Yes, there is. I'm not going to judge you if you don't like them, but I shouldn't like them. Dude, I like Rush. I like Turbo Negro. I like Metallica. I like Black Label Society. I like Disturbed. You know what I mean? Like, I generally like it a little. NWA. Like, Matchbox 20 doesn't really have any space in that continuum. But the song Unwell, I like the song Unwell, though. Reminds me of my sister. I got a funny call today. I'll tell you something else since we're just babbling. It's like a summer show now. But so my dad calls me today. You guys, those of you who watch the show know about my dad. He lives in Columbus, Ohio. I don't really hang out with him too much. He's kind of weird. So he calls me today and he says, hey, man, I was talking with your mom this morning. And we had a conversation about how she needs to drive a fully electric car. And 5 years from now, he tells me, you won't even be able to buy a car with actual fuel because there won't be any fuel anymore. Like, the whole world, well, specifically America, I guess, is going to shift 100% from, I don't know, not 100%. What percentage of the cars on a road on any given day are like gas cars? 95%. I drive a hybrid, but that's still a gas car. He says in 5 years, you won't even be able to buy a combustion engine, a fuel combustion engine, because everything will be electric. I think he's getting a little ahead of himself there. So he thinks that I need to essentially talk my mom, who's 77. I need to talk her into buying like a Tesla. Like a fully electric car. And seriously, I'm just sitting there going, hey, man, why? Hey, man, you need to tell your mom to get an electric car. She's driving a 16-year-old Acura right now, and everything's fine. And you think in 5 years, like if I buy her a BMW or she buys herself a BMW tomorrow, like a regular BMW X3 that runs on gas or whatever, that in 5 years it'll be, passed by because there won't be any more fuel? It seems a little premature. Wildman Steve's? I don't know that one. Is it like a record store in Auburn, maybe? I should know that, but I don't know. So Pocket Watch, the short answer to your question of who doesn't remember Wildman Steve's, this guy right here does not remember it. Or he didn't know to start with. It's weird to think that like back in the day we didn't have internet, you know? You would just have to figure out what you liked. And if you listen to radio, I mean, if you listen to radio, You know what I mean? I don't know. Radio was kind of iffy back then. Pocket West says it was an institution downtown. AU Taxman says, like who you like, don't be ashamed. I mean, I'm pretty open about who I listen to. Obviously, I'm stuck in the old days. I mean, I still listen to, I was listening to the Beatles a lot this week. Listen to Rush a lot. I listen to Depeche Mode because really, when you get down to it, I'm like the dude that wants to go to Depeche Mode shows. Canoe Man says it's where Moe's is now, Commodore. Good stuff, bro. Leif B says, speaking of summer, who still wants to go to the Bourbon Trail this summer? Man, that sounds really, really good, Leif. We can hit a little Nelson County action. You can hit Willett, Old Barton, i.e. 1792. You could hit Heaven Hill and all that, Larceny and all that kind of good stuff. I guess you could slide up to Lawrenceburg, Anderson County. You could hit Four Roses up there. Wild Turkeys up there. You could hit one county north of that. It'd be Woodford County. So you could hit Woodford Reserve. Obviously in Louisville, you've got Michter's. Angel's Envy is right there. Old Forester, all that stuff. And of course in Owensboro, whatever you got over there, Leif. I forgot which one it is. I don't think Wathans is from over that way, is it? Or is it? I've been seeing more Wathans around here. Everybody acts like it's a big coveted bourbon now. I'm not sure that it is. It's good, though. I would be totally down with a little Bourbon Trail action. Canoeman says Bardstown Bourbon / Lux Row. Lux Row, exactly. Bardstown Bourbon Company. BBC. Makers of some of my favorite bourbons, actually. Canoeman, very good point. Says, me thinks we need to go to Buffalo Trace in Frankfort. Obviously, I don't know why I would leave that out. Franklin County, Kentucky. That's a little bit north of the areas we were talking about, but that's cool. I would go there. I've been there. My main man, John Starnes, who is a vestige of the old days. He was a great student assistant back in the day. I can't remember how far back you were, Starnes. If you were all the way back to like Melissa and Jennifer Cooper back that far, or if you were with my main man Adam, or if you were back with Barrett or Ben Beatty, I can't remember, dude. It all kind of runs together. Or Kim was there when you were there. Anyway, John Starnes, badass. If we're bringing back Auburn establishments, I miss Buffalo's on Magnolia, Penny Beer Team Trivia. I've been to Buffalo's many a time. Canoeman says, speaking of Huntsville legends, welcome John Starnes. Look at you, man. I had a great time up in Huntsville, man. Seriously. It was like one of those unseasonably warm days the other day. It was on Wednesday, so it was like 75 degrees. It was beautiful. And went to the Southeast Family YMCA. They was really, really cool. They were great to me about, I'm a member of the Montgomery YMCA. They were like, come on in. You're welcome to hang out. Enjoyed working out there. Really nice folks. And then I found like a little soccer facility, I guess, which is right next to their their little stadium there. Kind of near, what was that place called? Anyway, it was turf. It was like 5 turf soccer fields all together. I had a time of my life out there, just practicing free kicks. Had the big screens behind the goals so the ball didn't go out. It's perfect. Had a great time in Huntsville. You guys are such badasses for living up there. It doesn't even feel like Alabama, really. It feels like South Nashville, if anything. Late B says, someplace else in Kentucky we go is the Corvette racetrack. I think it's not too expensive to take a few laps on the track. That's right. It's right across the street, or right across the interstate, I should say, from the Corvette Racing Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, a.k.a. Warren County, I believe. I spent many a night drunk in Buffalo's. I'm not talking about Buffalo Con. I'm talking about Buffalo's that's downtown, or close to downtown anyway. I think Jay Leno wrecked a Corvette on that particular track, Leif B, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, for folks who are not familiar, That is where they make the Corvette, is in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So that's going to be a little bit south of where we're talking about for the Bourbon Trail. But if it's important to have some laps on the track there with some Corvettes, that could be a very enticing place to go. I don't think they have any bourbon there, though. Leif, you would know more than I would. I can't think of any bourbons produced in Bowling Green, but regardless. When are we doing the Bunker Russell's Reserve barrel pick? Who the hell said that? I would do it. I actually got the details on that. So I can't speak specifically to Russell's, but I can speak specifically to Maker's Mark. If we buy a barrel, first of all, we would have to go up there. I guess we would have to like nominate like a group. Let's say 4 people. Well, 3 plus me. To go up there and determine what we want our stay profile to be. And then if we buy a barrel, that's approximately, it's between $20,000 and $25,000. And then it yields, I think, 240 bottles, 240 fifths, which is a lot. Hold on. I'll do like Colbert does on his show. Yes. And that'll be still pretty expensive. I would love to do it, though. I feel like we would have enough people, though. Let's think about this. Let's break it down. Let's say that it's going to be $22,000 for a barrel. And let's say we get 50 people to go in on it. We could probably get 100, right? That's $240 per person, right? According to my data here. So that means if we did 100 people, that means each person would get 2.5 fifths. I don't know if that's a great return on investment, is it? That's like $120 a bottle. Regardless. Maybe we can find one that's a little less expensive. Just throwing that out as an idea. We got some bourbon heads, though. I mean, a lot of the folks on this chat are into bourbon. And, of course, like 92 Masters, Dob the Bomb is huge into that. Archie, obviously, is huge into that. I know we got more. Those are the guys I turn to a lot. AU Taxman, obviously. I've talked about you a bunch of times on the bourbon side. I'm totally down with it. I would be glad to help out and do that. I'm totally down. I'm totally down. I think that would be really cool. I mean, I think there's better things we could do with our money, but I don't know if we could do things that would be better tasting. Leif says a barrel of new fill bourbon should only cost about $700. I mean, not finished bourbon, dude. Come on. It costs way more than that. I understand what you're talking about, but well, man, Collins M, no message offered, no message needed. This is my guy right here from Virginia, our number one super chatter, bunker member from Virginia. A guy who works for peanuts every damn day, despite being an absolute beast. Canoe Man jumps in. Says, best show in months. Love the drain. Canoe Man, what are you talking about, bro? I'm just out here babbling. Canoe Man says, I strongly agree with Sam. Sam says, Huntsville is massive now. You know what blows me away about Huntsville? And we mentioned this on the bunker the other day. I did anyway. First of all, Huntsville does not feel like Alabama to me. It feels like South Nashville. Second of all, there are so many, like, interesting places to eat there. We talk about Rosie's. I mean, that's just like a Huntsville staple. But if you just drive along Memorial Parkway, like you can kind of look to the left and right and see a lot of different kinds of food and a lot of different places to eat that are locally owned. I'm not talking about Hardee's and McDonald's. I'm talking about like local shit. So much like there's so many different options. It blows me away. First of all, I live in Montgomery. And I realize I get what I get, right? And I shouldn't be expecting a lot here, and I don't get a lot, which is cool. Corey knows what I'm talking about. But Huntsville, I bet there's 15. For every good eating option in Montgomery, there's 15 options in Huntsville, I bet. It's great. You guys do an awesome job up there. I still don't really understand your traffic patterns, to be fair, because they have like the big Memorial Parkway, and they have like this road that is also considered Memorial Parkway, but it's not actually Memorial Parkway. It runs perpendicular. It runs parallel to it. And you kind of have to get off and then turn around to get places. It's very weird to me. I came to when I was living in Kentucky in 97, our friend Michelle and Chip got married in Huntsville. So we drove down. It's the first time I've ever been to Alabama. We were both just absolutely blown away by the traffic patterns there. I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. They don't have anything like that in Mobile. They don't have anything like that in Birmingham. They have a little bit of that in Montgomery on the Eastern Boulevard, where you kind of have those access roads that are right along the boulevard, but it's not really a main thoroughfare. In Huntsville, that's like the way of life, at least on Memorial Parkway. Once you go out 585 or whatever that is, it's a little different, out toward Madison. And I did drive out to Madison finally, because I haven't been out that way ever. It's unbelievable how much growth there is out there. And I went by Madison Academy just to see it. It was nice. I would go there. Blown away by Huntsville, though. I've always kind of had a high opinion of Huntsville, but it's a nice town. Kind of looking forward to going back, honestly. Really enjoy the Southeastern Family YMCA. Like, that's what a YMCA is supposed to look like. It's got newer equipment. There's a lot of people there. Like, it felt like a community. The one where I go to here in Bell Road in Montgomery used to feel like that 10 years ago, especially since COVID. There's hardly anybody there. Like, I show up and it's like me and 5 other people. It's like, what's up, dude? I feel like Foghorn Leghorn checking in, you know? When you kind of, when he and the, let's see, he's the chicken, and then the dog checks in. You know what I mean? When they like clock in and clock out. It's like, what's up, fam? What's up, Fred? Same 5 people. Do we have anything else to discuss? What else we got? All we've done is talk good about Huntsville. Of course, we love our friends in Birmingham. It's a great town. Not sure how I feel about Montgomery. I mean, I've been here 23 years. Made some great friends here. But it's certainly got its problems. Mobile's a good town. A lot more culture than here. I realize I am saying that from Montgomery. You got the big fair coming up. The big shindig. It's going to be a little bit weird in COVID, though. Mardi Gras. Mobile's where it really starts. It's tough. My daughter's going to be right in the middle of that. She's going to be right in the middle of that. She's 18 years old. I'm not real worried about it. You guys probably say, he's a bad parent. You know. It's exceedingly rare that a teenager has a problem with COVID. I'm just being real about it. I myself am 48 years old. I got to be careful. But she at 18 years old does not need to be careful. Don't be mad at me. Let's see. Canoe Man says, feels like a Gals We Adore show. Hell yeah, of course it is. Let's do it. Are you kidding? I can't remember specifically who you guys love each. But I love Jill Arrington here in the hot pink or the fuchsia. She's I had lunch with her at the University of Georgia game in 2004, I think. And to this day, she's the hottest chick I ever saw in my entire life live. She was just on a different world. She's on a different plane, honestly. Ali Wong, who I don't know personally, obviously, but she looks lovely. Jennifer Connelly, who is now on a TV show. Odd. Tommy Lahren, she's got a little argumentative on Fox News, honestly. I'm getting a little bit annoyed. I'm getting tired of the argumentative stuff. On both sides, really. But one thing we don't argue about is that she's hot. Shannon Spake. She's lovely. She used to cover Talladega when I was there. Me and Josh Moon would cover Talladega. She was the ESPN's primary NASCAR reporter. She's with a different network now. She's a very positive person on Twitter. I don't know if you guys follow her, but you should if you don't. She's very positive. Abby Hornacek, the daughter of course, the great Jeff Hornacek. I've been watching the Last Dance again because it's a great documentary about the Bulls and Michael. Well, really, it's about Michael Jordan, but also in other news, the Bulls won 6 titles. And Jeff Hornacek, although he's not interviewed, you do see some highlights with him involved when he was with the Jazz. He was the shooting guard for the Jazz back when they were really good in the late 90s. And that is his daughter, which is kind of weird to think about that. Ross Gold. There she is. Excuse me. Actually, Jazzy Joe got us onto that. Jazzy Joe texted me the other day when I was in Huntsville to let me know that he's a long-haul trucker. And his truck had broken down in Savannah, so he was stuck in Savannah at the time. And I was kind of just talking to him, I guess. We love Jazzy Joe. He's an absolute badass, and he's a big Ross Gold fan. Turned me on to her for sure. Who else we got here? This has got to be, this is Wayne Gretzky's daughter. It's not even fair, really. I mean, Wayne Gretzky's her dad. Janet Jones is her mom. She's a supermodel. I mean, come on. Super chat coming through from Fat Crack. What's up, bro? Says Fat Crack. He says dropping in. Hope all is well, JGT. Hell yeah. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for jumping in, Fat Crack. You're an absolute beast, of course. Kudu Man says, how is Jazzy Joe doing? He's doing good. He was broken down that day, but I'm sure he's good now. We love Jazzy Joe. We've had a chance to meet Jazzy Joe. It was awesome because he and Jay Lee had known some of the same kids in recruiting. Like some of his friends Jay Lee had written about in recruiting. It was pretty cool. That chick, I'm going to go ahead and just delete her. That was some chick we were trying to find for Ruxy Poo. I think that might be the girl that Ruxy Poo, hold on. Was that the girl Ruxy Poo was actually looking for? That's the AT&T girl right there. I actually read about her a little bit more. She is it's one of those Russian Republic countries that's not actually Russia. Like Uzbekistan or somewhere like that. She is lovely, though. I think that might have been the actual girl that Ruxy Poo was looking for that one time. Margot Robbie. I don't know if you guys saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was in that. She's been in a bunch of other stuff, too. But not stuff that I've seen. Who else? Who we got here? Oh, that's definitely the chick that Ruxy Poo is looking for. Again, that's, if you guys think she's hot, that's great. Not really my type. What else we got? This is my type. Amanda Coates. She's a tennis star. Well, I'm going to go star. She was like a top 25 player from the late 80s, early 90s. Of course, Aunt Becky there with her fake-ass daughter, who may or may not have actually gotten into college one time. I don't know why I had that on there. Oh, my goodness gracious. Look at this group. That is that's Lisa Booth, for sure, and other hot girls. That's quite an array right there. My goodness. What else we got here? We got a request for Jenny Dell. Where is Jenny Dell? Hold on. Let me see if I can find her. That's Allison Stokey. I know that. That's my mom watches Big Brother, and this chick was on Big Brother. Her name was Christmas. It's hot as hell. Nope. Oh, Jenna Fisher. One of my favorites. Graduate of Truman State University in Missouri. Oh, here's Jenny Dell. Oh. Hold on. Is this the guy you were talking about? Or are you talking about the golf girl? It's one of these two girls you're talking about. One of those two girls is who you're talking about right there. Canoe Man says Aunt Becky. Everybody loves Aunt Becky. I mean, she's in jail, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. It kind of adds to the allure a little bit. Call Me Biscuit says, what happened to the Red Sox, the hot Red Sox girl? That's my favorite. Yeah, she's super, super hot. Honestly, man, these three right here, I'll take the third one. Whoever, if you got, let's say Canoe Man gets the first pick, Call Me Biscuit gets the second pick. Whatever the third pick is, I'm good. because they're all winners as far as I'm concerned. My Canoe Man says, did your mom submit a request to gals we adore? I wonder who my mom would adore. What do you think, Cordy? Who would my mom think is hot? Oh, yeah, you're right. She's so eat up with The Bachelor, she'd probably pick one of those girls, like Maddie Pruitt or something like that. She was a big fan of Maddie Pruitt, for sure. Pocket Watch says it's very bad because of why she's in jail. Wait a minute. Who's in jail? Oh, you're talking about Lori Loughlin. Okay, so if we're just going to talk honestly here, and we're just friends talking, right? Like, was that really a jailable offense? I mean, I'm like thinking about who's in jail. You got murderers and pederasses and all that kind of stuff. And Aunt Becky's in jail because she falsified some documents to get her daughter into USC. Like, to me, that's really not that big of a deal. Like, it's bad. And maybe a $100,000 fine. And we move on. I don't know. Cordy, what do you think about this? Do you think Aunt Becky should be in jail? Administrative assistant says that they just had to make a statement. Like they had to kind of like take a stand and make it say, hey, this is bad. Don't do this. Or else you go to jail. I don't know. Wait, what? I know. I've been telling people. We've been kind of doing a summer show here lately, but I'm just saying, like, pound for pound. Like, I mean, Jill Arrington's the hottest chick I ever saw in my life, like, personally, but Aunt Becky, super hot. Like and I don't think that's fair though, because I think that she's got great docs versus great genes, you know. Whatever. Pocket Watch says yes, it was very much a jailable offense. They were doing straight fraud. The universities didn't receive remotely enough punishment, but they really suck anyway. All right, here's what I'm going to say about that, Pocket Watch. I don't agree with you, but I respect your opinion, and I will consider that in the future. Leif B says, I remember how awesome it felt to get my daughter into our preferred kindergarten class. I can't imagine if I wanted them to go to a certain college. That's my man right there. Canoe Man says, Jenny Dell is even hotter in person. It's unreal. Wow. To think that this girl's even hotter in real life? She's pretty hot right now. I don't know anything about her either. I mean, I'm guessing she covers the Red Sox for like some sports network up there or something. I'm sure I'm glad you guys put me on to her. Her and Lisa Booth, who I see on Fox News every now and then, but I didn't really pay attention to her. She's super hot. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Jenny Dell works for NESN covering the Red Sox. Wow. Hey, I'm going to get another picture of her up here. Good God. We haven't added to girls we adore in a long time. Look at this. That's the same girl. That's the Red Sox girl right there. My goodness. I mean, she's curvy in all the right places. Am I right, guys? Canoe Man says she used to cover the Sox, now on to the NFL. Oh, real quick before we go. There's a guy I saw on ESPN not too long ago who I thought was so hot. And I actually followed her on Twitter. She was that hot. Let me see if I can find a reasonable picture of her. Her name is Jenny Lane, Laine, and she covers the Bucks for the ESPN. She's really super hot. I don't really see a picture of her. You guys just look her up. I don't see a picture of her that's like crazy. You know, she's a TV reporter, so you never know. I mean, your mileage may vary or whatever. But not only is she super hot, but she does a good job too. Like she's good at what she does. She's kind of a high enthusiasm kind of girl. Obviously, she was on ESPN a good amount because the Bucks got to the Super Bowl and they won it. That was a big deal. Oh my gosh, was she really a fitness competitor? I didn't know that. That's not fair. So I can't find any proper pictures of her. My bad. I've been trying. Nothing's really jumping out. This is about the best I can do right here. That's not a great picture, but anyway, she's lovely. You guys are interested. Call Me Biscuit says she can cover me. You talking about Jenny Dell? All right, guys. Unbelievable show today. Sorry we ended up devolving into these summer topics, but it's kind of what we do here. We do different stuff. It's getting to be, it's almost like summer, like outside. It's 48. I'm just kidding. I can't believe we had John Starnes on the show. Late B says that's fishing with dynamite. Hey, now. Damn, guys. We've got 2.5 hours on a basketball game that they lost? It's unbelievable. Seriously, though, we'll wrap it up there. Already giving a shout-out to all of our awesome super chatters, all of our great chatters who have been here. Late B's been here like the distance. Canoe Man. Call Me Biscuits jumped in here late, but is an absolute badass, of course. Pocket Watch, a stud. You guys know what I'm talking about. Collins, AU Taxman's been here the whole way. Sam H has been here the whole way, I think. Good God, you guys have been insane. This has been a crazy, crazy game. Crazy day. Spread Attack, I think, is gone now, but he was here early. James Taylor Studios, little negative, but, we love him. AU Storm 20, you could call it in earlier. Our callers were AU Storm 20, Deezer, Stoop Up as well. Corey Dubb was in the house earlier. Cleveland Brown showed up because he's here every single show. We love him. Man, what a show. So many great ones. All right, guys. All I can say is, great show. Glad to have you guys here. We'll check you guys on the flip side. We'll be doing a show on Tuesday. That'd be a rundown, of course. And we've been drinking the Elijah Craig 18 and the Knob Creek store pick, the 9-year store pick from Christie's in Knoxville, courtesy of Cousin. Call Me Biscuit says, you got a good head start for the evening, JGT. Have fun tonight. Pocket Watch says, you raised your game for UK. I am a UK graduate, but listen, man, I've been writing about Auburn since 98, so you kind of know where it is. You know what time it is. I'll probably wrap it up there. You guys be good. Remember, if you're out there drinking tonight, be sure and stay hydrated. And we'll check you guys on the flip side. Until then, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Be good out there. Peace. Love you guys.